This podcast is brought to you by the Arte Media Pantheon. Please head to artemedia.org to see all kinds of podcasts from our great friends. And if you'd like to start your own podcast, they can provide you with the tools and resources to do so there. So please head to artemedia.org. That's ARETE media.org. On with the show, Jordan. Welcome to the Spurr Podcast, everybody. I don't know why he did. Anyway, welcome to the Spurr Podcast, everybody. I'm your host. As always, I am he, I am they, I am them. I am Justin Spurr, and I'm joined by my co-host.
You know why I did.
I'm joined by my co-host, the incomparable Jordan. And on today's show...
I am he, I am hey, I am they, I am we. I am the incomparable Jordan.
I am the incomparable Jordan. And on today's show, we're going to be talking about that King of the Hill revival. There's some speculation. Maybe seeing what's going on with not only a theme song, but also there's a leaked trailer that got out from some convention that I saw. And I was like, interesting. I got a bunch of Superman adjacent news. We got news about Rush Hour 4, Mamma Mia 3. What Power Rangers would have looked like on Netflix. Doctor Who.
Doctor Who.
And then later on the show, yes, Jordan did the Hacha Wahoo Ya Wacha thing. We're doing Kung Fu. You've seen the title. We're doing Kung Fu movies. And that includes some of the Karate Kid. I watched Cobra Kai. And then we watched the new Karate Kid Legends. We got a big time review for that. Let's get Doctor Who out of the way.
Oh, we're gonna go for that right away.
Well, we're gonna go for that. We're just gonna do it up top. Okay. I have not seen the entirety of the new season, but we are just gonna talk. We're not gonna talk about the whole season. We're not gonna talk about individual episodes because I haven't seen any of them. We're just gonna be talking about the ending, the big twist at the end, what is going to happen going forward, and maybe some fun fan theories. So, if you haven't seen the latest episode of Doctor Who, this is your chance. Come back in about 5 to 10 minutes, maybe 15 if we stretch it. Cool? Earmuffs until then. Because we're going to be saying a big spoiler for Doctor Who. A big spoiler that nobody saw coming. Like, remarkable. I was like, that's pretty impressive.
There's at least two big spoilers, but there's the one big spoiler.
Yeah, well, yeah, the two, I know both. So we're gonna. That was your opportunity. So the first big spoiler is the 13th Doctor came back, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, Jodie Whittaker. I did not see that coming.
I know. It was a really sweet scene. I loved Chudi Gatwa doing the David Tennant. What?
Yeah, right.
He nailed it. They both did. It was great. I was like, that's fantastic, and that's
yeah.
And I think that those doctors should be allowed to do that. Just come in, do one scene. They don't have to commit to a whole episode. Yeah. She just put on a wig and a version of the costume and came back for one day. Like, that's fun.
Certainly in the circumstances of what he was doing, it worked. It made sense.
It called back to that Children in Need special where David Tennant got to team up with, or got to meet the 6th, 7th Doctor, whatever. Like, that was a fun little reference. But the big news, Jordan, is obviously Gatwa's out. He is regenerated out. He's gone. He's dead. Well, maybe he's dead. Maybe he's not.
The thing is that the way that they treat regenerations in this season, he's not dead. He lives on inside the Doctor.
Yeah,
they've kind of set up like it just. Generally with his run that the doctors live in this special place inside him that was in the season 1 right where it was all on the inside and stuff.
That comes from the end of the Jodie Whittaker run where she went there when she regenerated into the Master Doctor or whatever.
Yeah, so they all exist inside is the point. And so he's only kind of dead. I mean, he exists out there in time somewhere. All the doctors do.
I mean, they do technically.
They're time traveling, so technically they all exist concurrently.
But the biggest twist of all, the Doctor regenerates, and who does he regenerate into? But Billie Piper. And for those who don't know who Billie Piper is, Billie Piper famously played Rose Tyler. And Is
I
this
will
wait?
say-
Let me finish the line of thought. Is the 16th Doctor Billy Piper? Who knows?
Well, I mean, we know that the 16th is. Whether or not she stays in that form or
Well-
turns into something else is up for air. But no, she very much regenerated into Billy Piper.
Well, she regenerated into Billy Piper, but there's a lot of theories that people have pointed out. Number one, that he is tapping into the time vortex energy, and that maybe he has pulled her out of it, the bad wolf out of it. And number two, in the credits, she's not credited as the Doctor. She's just credited as introducing Billy Piper. So her whatever she is a mystery. I heard one theory, because Russell T Davies has said that he will explain by generation. Like, he has every intention of explaining it. So the one theory I heard is that she is either Rose Tyler or some sort of Rose Tyler sort of variation or whatever, or represents some part of the Doctor, and that she will merge with David Tennant, and they will go back to just being one Doctor, and it will like officially end by generation.
One thing that's interesting about and this was something I kind of thought of earlier, about this regeneration, and maybe I don't know all the past Doctors, so I can't, but I'm talking New Who. This is the first time that the Doctor has actively chosen to regenerate in New Who. I can't speak for the past Who. In every other circumstances, he died.
Yeah, I mean,
or was dying, or got hurt.
I suppose my response to that would be, what you consider making a choice. I mean, technically speaking,
well, he didn't. In all of those circumstances, he didn't have a choice. David Tennant, he had radiation poisoning. He had to regenerate.
Technically speaking, Matt Smith died of old age, so he technically died of old age.
That's still dying.
I mean, he chose to die of old age.
That's
so
still him not having a choice, and he couldn't regenerate.
He
didn't have a choice. I'm saying this is and then Jodie Whittaker had to regenerate. This is the first time, like, he goes.
Also, technically, Peter Capaldi chose to regenerate.
I don't know how much you know about the ending of it, but he chooses to go and do it so that he can change a thing.
Yeah, basically. So he can bump reality 1%, which is also why I'm hoping it's not just like they pulled Rose Tyler from her alternate dimension or whatever, and it's just Rose Tyler, because that'd be kind of dull. I mean,
it also wouldn't make sense, because at that point, what happened to the Doctor?
Right. Well, that's apparently that's a theory. That's what people think is that they haven't actually revealed who the actual 16th Doctor is, and they swapped or something, and that's where I'm like, maybe Ncuti Gatwa isn't actually dead. Maybe he will come back. Like, they haven't actually said whether or not she's the Doctor or not. So maybe he will come back for a third season, because they usually do 3 seasons, and he only did 2. But he's making it seem pretty final. So
he's the second shortest Doctor, apparently.
Yes, after what's his face? The first one, the 8th one. He only did one season.
The 9th
one. Technically, the shortest one is the 8th one, because he only did a movie.
Well, I mean, if we're gonna go that route, then I think I said this the other day. Technically, the War Doctor is also the shortest.
True. Or even the Fugitive Doctor, even shorter.
So, I mean, it really depends on what you consider.
Yeah, I could believe though, because it being like the David Tennant come. It just, if you're gonna bring back Billy Piper, why would you not bring back David Tennant? Even though they've insisted he's never coming back, I don't believe that. I've never believed that. Why would you bring back Billy Piper and not David Tennant? That just, especially when he's hanging out there in the universe. Why would you not?
My theory is that the reason why it's Billy Piper, I don't know what the in-story universe is going to be, but the out-of-story, if you will, reason is because, the way he's going to address the bi-generation is David Tennant and Billy Piper are going to have to come back together and either go on one adventure, like one last adventure, where by the end of it they fuse back together.
I think that's what's going to happen. I completely believe that theory. I think what'll happen is David Tennant and Billy Piper will finally kiss, because that's what Doctor Who fans, or at least that's what Russell T Davies thinks Doctor Who fans want, and they'll merge back into one being, and that one being will be the 16th Doctor, and that will be the end of bi-generation, because bi-generation is too messy. It's too messy of a concept to keep around. I suspect he will end it.
Yeah.
And just have, especially with this one where it's like, yeah, it's just a regular regeneration. Because, yeah, it doesn't, so, and also just it takes away David Tennant being out there in the universe and those questions of him being like, why didn't he come help? What happened to him? Like, you no longer are asking those questions because, like, yeah, he's gone. Like, I think, yeah, he'll finally go. But also,
that's my out of universe. I don't know what the story what the story reasons for it will be, but just from a meta, I know how TV and all that works. That's the direction I see it going.
Also, my another theory I have is that when the 14th Doctor first bi-generated, the 15th Doctor remembers it because he mentions it to the 13th Doctor. That's why he doesn't seem surprised.
What? Sorry, what?
The 13th Doctor, when she shows up in the episode, he says to her, "I can't bi-generate this time," and she's like, "Wait, what?" He's like, "Forget I said that." My theory is that she remembers this. Unlike other times where they've crossed streams, she remembers this, and that's why when David Tennant first bi-generates, I'm pretty sure that's functionally why she's there. Because otherwise, why her? It just seems odd. I
could believe that.
I think she's there, so that when he bi-generates, that's why he remembers. He remembers being her.
Remembers the term anyway.
Yeah, and that's why he's not surprised by it. He knows as her. She now knows that the only thing that kind of doesn't make that square is obviously that David Tennant doesn't remember, but David Tennant doesn't remember anything. He's David Tennant. That's his whole bit. But yeah, no, I'm not one of those people who's immediately like, oh, this is desperate, because I'm always like, you know what? If it's in pursuit of taking kind of a weird swing, then I'm for it. But I definitely get why people are like, really? Like, I'm not going to discount that feeling. I definitely get it.
Yeah,
I don't know how I feel. I need to see the result of it.
I need to see it.
A lot of people think it's going to be for like one Christmas special, and then they're going to resolve it pretty immediately.
Yeah, well, I think the next special will be like she goes and deals with David Tennant. Like,
I want her to be the Doctor, though. Like, even if it's just for one special, I want her to be the Doctor. Like, just straight up. Like, not like a Clara, she thinks she's the Doctor. I want a former companion to be the Doctor for a special. And just to see what that... Like, what is the point of having... If it isn't the Doctor, and it is like, yeah, it's you've pulled... Because one of the justifications for it being Rose Tyler is, well, the universe is still... weak because of Mavity and all that stuff, so they're like, yeah, it's that you've pulled Rose Tyler from her adjacent universe because the universes are weak, and that's how she's able to come back into our universe. And I could that's believable.
I could see it being a combination of the universe is weak and bi-generation has like basically screwed up regeneration, so it's not working properly, and the combination of the two pulled her across. Because
he did say that they were going to explain bi-generation, and they, to my knowledge, haven't yet.
And then, you could easily then at that point have it be where the Billy Piper is both Rose Tyler and the Doctor, like sharing a body.
Oh, that'd be kind of interesting. I mean, yeah, that I could believe they're going in the direction of the being bi-generated has... I fully believe that it's about them coming back together. Because, it being like, I don't want her to purely be Rose Tyler. That would be boring. Like, that just, to me, would be so boring.
Yeah.
It's way more fun if she gets to be the Doctor. Like, otherwise, what's the point?
It would just also be confusing to me, because then at that point I would be like, well, what happened to the Doctor?
Yeah. Like, I don't think... I would be shocked if she was signing on for a season. But yeah, the fact that they... All of the Doctor Who media has not called her the 16th Doctor. Like, if you look at all of their YouTube pages with the clip, they just say he regenerated, but they have not said she is the Doctor.
To be fair, when David Tennant signed on, did they give him an official number?
Yeah, he's officially the 14th Doctor, yeah.
No, but I know they did that after, but did they do that right away?
Pretty well right away, yeah.
Yeah, then that's intentional, that's a choice, and that's a thing
when he regenerated, it said David Tennant as the Doctor. It was the numbering that was suspect. So then
Yeah, that's a choice then.
Yeah, she's
not
the only one. She's the only one that it didn't say Billy Piper as the Doctor. So, and
Then
also
she's not the Doctor then.
Oh, I mean, to be fair, a lot of people have pointed out that like the Doctor has broken the fourth wall before, but she also breaks the fourth wall like Mrs. Flood does. So yeah, I could believe it is. I'm hoping your theory is right, and she's a mashup of Rose Tyler and the Doctor. Like she is the Doctor, but not quite the Doctor, and something has gone wonky with the regeneration. He's not regenerating properly, and it's about fixing the regeneration.
I think
that is 1,000 times more interesting.
I think it's a combination of what they're going to do is it's a combination of bi-generation being wonky and the reality being so loosey goosey at that moment. They're very definitely going to go a route of in that moment when he was regenerating, he was thinking of Rose Tyler, and so when he regenerated into her, and like because he made a wish or whatever because that was a thing in that episode, and they'll have some wonky reason where it'll be like it both will and won't be Rose Tyler.
Yeah,
like they'll do that.
It's just like it's like if you're gonna bring her back, let her have the opportunity to act like David Tennant. Like, why would you not?
Yeah, I mean,
she seems like she's Rose though. She's giving a very Rose. Hi there. Like that's pretty Rose like. So yeah, I don't know.
I could believe that it's a body amount, like a body melt.
I just hope it's not like a body swap where somewhere else they're gonna reveal in the next few months that they've recast the 16th. Like they have cast the 16th Doctor. It's somebody different, and they spoil it. Like if there is a 16th Doctor and it's not her, and she's not sticking around for multiple seasons, then don't reveal it. Don't tell us what it is.
Yeah.
Don't do what you did with the past 3 Doctors, where we all knew who the Doctor was going into it. Like I want to be surprised, especially if you get someone famous. Get someone famous. Like get someone like do like an American Doctor Who. Like just have him regenerate into an American.
No, I don't want that.
Canadian?
Personally. Canadian could be interesting. Australian.
I
want an Australian. Because American. They've done Doctor Who Goes to America with Matt Smith. I've seen America in Doctor Who. Do some other countries.
Well, I'm more meant like
Canada
Well, I'm more meant like let him have an American accent. Like
yeah, I know what you meant. No, I don't want that. America gets everything.
Hey, if he could have a Scottish or Spanish, I just give him a different accent. Let a different nationality play him.
Have Pedro Pascal come in and play him. Like that would be cool. Or like an Asian. That would be cool. Just not American.
Or have him come in and be
Japanese, and then you could have an entire season which is poking fun at like anime and like old Japanese movies.
Have him be Irish. Have him be a redhead and let him have an Irish accent.
I mean, yeah,
he's been allowed to be Scottish. Well, no, he's already been allowed to be Scottish. Both Peter Capaldi and Judy Gatwa.
Oh, yeah,
they play him with the Scottish accent.
Judy Gatwa doesn't.
Yeah, he absolutely plays with the Scottish accent. That's his Scottish accent. It's a particular.
Doesn't sound Scottish to me. Sounds British.
Yeah, it's a particular area of Scottish, but no, he's traditionally from Scotland. But yes, I
didn't pick up on that at all.
I am intrigued.
It'll be interesting. I mean, they've already done. The 2 subjects that would make it difficult for the Doctor to travel through time, being black and being a woman. So
yeah, I just feel like she's gonna have.
I feel like the Doctor is gonna have a lot easier of a time traveling as a blonde white woman. But then again, no, they already did that with Jodie Whittaker.
I was just gonna say, I was about to be like,
next Doctor. I mean, unless it's a woman again. Or black again, I feel like the Doctor's gonna have an easier time traveling through time.
I was gonna say, he's gonna have a much easier time being a blonde white woman, and then I remembered he'd already been a blonde white woman. But to be fair, like this time, if she's gonna be, if it is actually Billie Piper, let her be a blonde white woman. Don't try to like that became really apparent to me when I saw he's more feminine than she is. The 13th Doctor versus and I'm like that.
I would agree.
If you're gonna do a woman, let her be a woman. That's not a dig at the 15th Doctor. I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna make him a woman. Like, let her be a woman. Don't try to dress her in masculine clothing because the audience can't handle the fact that she's a woman. The audience already hates the fact that she's Billie Piper. You might as well lean in. And they suck anyway. They're like Star Wars fans.
As for Judy Godwin coming back again, I don't think so because he had stuff outside Doctor Who, which was picking up, which was why he left.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, I suspect he'll be one of the ones who he'll come back in the sense that he'll come back for like
he'll come back in like a special or something. Yeah.
Unlike Peter Capaldi, who was a no fun stick in the mud, I suspect would come back.
I would agree.
I can't believe Matt Smith hasn't come back. Like, I just can't believe, like, they haven't let Stephen Moffat write a crossover where he gets to come back. Like, he's the one.
Who knows? Maybe that's where we're going.
Maybe. I thought for sure when they introduced the concept, like, there were leaks for the 14th.
I maintain I would like a season where, like, it starts off as Rose Tyler and then it becomes Martha Jones and then it becomes like, and like it's the season is about him trying to figure out why he keeps changing into the different companions, and then at the end of it he remerges with David Tennant.
To be fair, I think the concept of bi-generation was added late in the game. Like, I think he was going to do a quasi... Because in the original trailer for that, I don't know if how it looked changes. I haven't seen it yet. But in that space where all the doctors hang out, you know, where they regenerate or whatever, in the trailer where he shows up and he goes, "What the hell is going on?" He's in that space. So there was a theory that he was trapped there for whatever reason, and it was about him, he had to emerge. And I think that concept of him emerging is what I'm guessing became bi-generation. I lost. Anyway.
All I know is that the bi-generation thing never made any sense.
I never liked it.
It was stupid.
It just felt like a lazy way to keep David Tennant around.
Right. Which is stupid because they already have a way to have him around. He's in the other universe with Rose. You could just find a way to break down the walls of reality.
Right? It's Doctor Who. So
it accomplishes the same thing. You have an old David Tennant.
So they released a bunch of information about that the King of the Hill. They keep calling it a new season. I would not call it a new season. It has a different. It's a revival. It's really more akin to like when they brought back Roseanne and they became the Connors. It's like it's more or less a new show because it's got a different showrunner. It's not really. It looks like Mike Judge is only involved insofar as I don't think he's writing on it. I think he's just doing voices. Like I think he's just doing Hank and Boomhauer. But yeah, and
I heard that the guy who plays Hank's dad in the original is now Dale.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a thing we had asked before. So there's a bunch of details that came out. That's one of them. I guess we'll start there. One of the details, I think it's Toby Huss who played Hank's dad and Khan because they have recast Khan with actual Laotian. And he has taken over as Dale, and you can kind of tell in the trailer, if you've seen if you've seen that leaked trailer, you can kind of tell there's a bit where he sounds kind of different, but otherwise it's pretty flawless.
Well, I had heard that like the first, I think it was like six episodes or something like that, 5, 6, 7 episodes. The original voice actor for Dale is the actual voice in the show. And then there's a certain point where this guy takes over.
Yeah, there's 10 episodes, and I believe he did the first 2 or 3. Might be 2. And then you could tell when you listen to that leaked trailer, you can kind of tell, but it's pretty spot on. And I think the beauty of this, and this is why I love this, is it doesn't matter because you could just chalk it up to Dale being older.
You could chalk it up to Dale being older and having smoked for all those years.
Right. I think he's probably quit. That's why he's vaping. That's my theory.
Oh, I didn't see this leaked trailer. I saw the small little bit that I sent you.
No, I mean on the poster he's vaping, so I think he's vaping because he quit.
I could believe that.
But yeah, they officially released the theme song, which was cool. It shows the passage of time between the ending of the previous season and this new season. So you see the plot of this is that Hank and Peggy have, and apparently these are real, but they're like these compounds in Saudi Arabia where like they just look like a suburban neighborhood and nothing changes and nothing really evolves. And these are real. These are based on real things in Saudi Arabia. But in order to build a retirement nest egg, Peggy Peggy and Hank moved to Saudi Arabia and have been gone for a number of years, and they are now
Bobby went with them too.
Bobby did not go with them. Bobby. It appears that there's that period where they're moving out. He just moved out, so he currently lives in Dallas and is the head and / co-owner of a successful restaurant. So the show is, according to the showrunners, predominantly about him and his life and him being an adult. And it appears by that trailer, because I saw a full version of the trailer. He runs into Connie, so he hasn't seen Connie in a number of years, so he runs into her again. Joseph appears to be back; he's there as well, and he's hanging out with Chain Wasana-san, which is interesting.
Who?
The kid who used to bully him, who made him eat dirt in that one episode. He was like the Asian guy who Connie's parents wanted him to date him instead.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, apparently it looks like he's friends now. And yeah, so I guess it's about how Hank coming back and seeing what's different, moving back to the neighborhood, back into the old family home, and seeing what's different. And in the trailer, it's interesting that Bill he's fatter and older, which I thought was funny.
Well, it's interesting that you say that Bobby didn't go with them to Saudi Arabia, because in that theme song, it looks like there's a point where the three of them leave.
Yeah, that's him.
Together.
That's him moving out, like as an adult moving out. Moving.
Well, that's not what it looks like. It looks like that's the three of them leaving to go to Saudi Arabia.
Right, but no, it's that he's living in Dallas. So
I mean, just because he's living in Dallas doesn't mean that he didn't go with them.
I don't. Well, to be fair, he might. I haven't seen this, but that from what it's been described, no.
Gone with them and then moved back as an adult.
No, I think it's just they all moved out together. So they moved out and then went to Saudi Arabia, and then he also moved out.
It's not what it looks like.
And then I love the bit at the end where it's the three of them. What else?
My one thing when I first saw the theme song, that I was like, is because of course my brain, I was like, well, they would sell the house, right? So like my first thing, I was like, wait, so he came back to Texas and just happened to be able to buy his house back, and then my brain was like, well, no. Later, my brain was like, well, no, duh, of course he's renting it out to someone.
The black guy in the theme song who comes out is now hanging out with...
For whatever reason, when I first saw it, I was like, how could he have bought his house back? That doesn't make any sense.
I think that guy, cause from what I can gather, because you see in the theme song, he comes out eventually once Hank and Peggy move away, and he's now out in the alleyway drinking beer with them. So I think he rents, and in the trailer you see him in the trailer. So I think he is still renting from them, and he's living with them.
Yeah, I suspect what it'll be is Hank and Peggy come back. Bobby's not living there anymore, and so this guy can either have Luann's room or
Bobby's room,
Bobby's room, and still live there while they're living there.
The theory is that he's I think he's a new character, but one of the theories is that he's
one of the guys that Hank worked with.
Yeah, one of the guys that Hank worked with. Yeah,
one of the tank guy. I don't remember the character's name.
The one who was played by Chris Rock.
Yeah,
that one. So I pulled up this.
I just don't see it being that. The only reason why I don't see it being that character is because, I mean, unless you're going to have him sound completely different than Chris Rock, or have a Chris Rock sound-alike come in.
I mean, I'm sure they could get Chris Rock to come back.
I'm
pretty confident they could get Chris Rock to come back, but I heard that Bill basically has become a shut-in, and he finished Netflix. was a thing that was said about him. The creator said. That's funny. So my number one thing is, there's a lot of attempts to deconservatize, or I don't know how else to put it, liberalize the original King of the Hill. So one of the things that the showrunner said was Hank always represented the sensible middle. The old show did a great job handling the extremes and kind of pushing people towards the common sense middle was, which is just, while Hank's been gone and while he's gone, the country's changed so much. They also said they're not. If you're tuning in expecting Hank to find out who Hank voted for, you're not going to find that out.
No, because he's been hiding in Saudi Arabia.
He can still vote.
But so okay, in terms of but clearly he didn't. And so okay, we're gonna deconstruct this. Hank being center. Hank being center by Canadian standards, no. Hank being center-ish by Texan standards, I could kind of see.
No, he was so conservative.
I can kind of see. Only when you put him beside some of the other people. I wouldn't call him center. I would call him like center right.
Like compared to, I suppose Donald Trump. Yeah, he's downright left-leaning, but no, that's the whole point of that show. That show is written by a conservative man, and it never makes the case. A lot of times, like sometimes it does make the case that he's wrong in the case of certain social issues, but it never makes the case that being a conservative is wrong. So, like, to be like, and then they said the same thing of Dale, of, he's going to seem practically, they're going to dial back some of his more extreme ideas, and he's going to be downright middle. And it's like, well, no, that's not. If he's a conspiracy theory, he would absolutely have been there on January 6th. Like, it's like,
he would definitely be a Trump supporter. But
for sure,
they don't want that.
They don't want to do that, which is disingenuous. It just comes across like, and that's why I mean, it's apparent to me that this is the new showrunner, where it just kind of comes across like people from LA writing a show about people from Texas. Like, but the most unbelievable bit about this, and the theory is that it was a extension of Strickland. Strickland was the one who convinced him, but I find it unbelievable that Hank would leave Texas. Texas and it's still in that trailer. It still seems to be part of his identity. So I just don't believe that he would leave Texas. Not even just his friends. I believe he would ditch his friends in a heartbeat. It's the leaving Texas thing that doesn't square with me.
I don't believe it either. The only way that I believe it is, if Strickland like takes him to this place, basically, because Hank was all about like perfectionism, right? Things staying the same. That's why he was always obsessed with his lawn being perfect and stuff like that, right? He was all about like order and control. To the point where, no, that's Stan. Never mind. But he was always about order and control. And so I could see Strickland selling him on it only in so far of the fact of being like, Hank, my boy, if you go to this place in Saudi Arabia, it stays like it's always Texas. It's always classic Texas.
But that's not how this is presented. This is presented as though he's doing it for the money. Like he's doing this, and I just that's out of character in my opinion for him.
I'm saying, to me, that my way is the only way that it would make sense.
Yeah,
is if that's how it's sold. It is like, because it's just always classic Texas there. Things never change. Things always stay the same. That to me is in character with Hank.
Right, and this article goes on to say that it's a coming of age story in purple state suburbia, and that's just not King of the Hill. Like, some of the King of the Hill's more irritating elements to me, as I can say that because I've watched it as an adult recently. That's just not King of the Hill. King of the Hill is through and through a conservative show, and that's fine. But like, to pretend it wasn't a conservative show because conservatives now, or Republicans, because there's not, it was a conservative show, it doesn't mean it's a Republican show. But conservatism and Republicans have become so entwined that they don't want, and MAGA and Republican, they don't want to attach that image to King of the Hill. But it's disingenuous to pretend that King of the Hill wasn't a conservative show, because it was, and that's fine. It can be a conservative show. That's okay.
Now,
still funny show.
If you were to have it be where in universe, in story, you explain that Hank has become more left, more liberal because of Bobby. Because Bobby changed his mind and opened his heart and changed it, and you explain it within the context of the story, then I it will bother me less.
Well, but also
I to a degree, I could see it. I can see a plot thread where Dale has become a little less crazy, because you see in that opening theme song, he was, or at least tried to be.
Yeah, he tried to run for mayor.
They're going to make it where, he tried to run for mayor. So I could see it being a thing where that experience caused him to be less conspiracy theory because nobody would vote for him. I mean, and it changed his mind. There are story reasons that you could contrive that would make it work for me.
I think they're probably going to go in a taking.
because they've done a time jump.
Yeah.
That gives them leeway in my eyes.
Well, that's my thing.
They can have these characters be quite different and explain it within it's been like 14, 15, however many years.
That's my thing is, like, how long has he been in Saudi Arabia? Because, like, in order for him to be that removed from modern society, it would have to be quite a while. And the way Boomhauer's hugging him in that trailer, it tells me it's been a bit. So that's where that's when you're like, oh, did Bobby go with them to Saudi Arabia? Maybe, and then he came back to America. Because it seems to imply that they've been gone a while. Like, they've been gone quite a while. But in order to become that removed from modern, like, it have to be at least 10 years in order to it's stuck in like purgatory, essentially.
Plus that my other
Which is a while.
Argument for why I think Bobby went with them is because if he didn't and they were gonna move out like right around the time when he's an adult, he would have just rented from them. Why would he have left their house?
Well, who's to say he didn't?
What do you mean?
Who's to say that he didn't rent
it? There's a scene in the theme song where we see he does move out. He moves out, right?
Yeah,
like we see that.
He looks like he's an adult. Although I suppose
he looks like he's an older teenager. But I could believe in that he's supposed to be like 14 or 15.
To be fair,
a couple years after that, because I fully believe that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna do it where it's like they moved like a year or like a year or two after the last season, so Bobby would have been like 13 or 14 or 15. And then that's when they went. They've been in Saudi Arabia for all that time.
To my understanding, based upon information I've gotten from other people who are like more dialed in on this than I am, they say no, he's moved out on his own. And to be fair, it depends on how old.
I believe by the time of this show, he has absolutely moved out on his own.
In that
I'm
little
saying
bit.
in that little bit, I don't think that's the case.
There's King of the Hill experts out there who have analyzed it frame by frame, and to be fair, it could be a case of. Even if it's he moved out at 18 and they were gone for 10 years, I suppose he could be 28. It's really going to depend on how old Bobby is, and you won't know until they say it because they've got. Doesn't really sound like they're making him like. My thing is, you have the original voice actors come back and she plays him a bit more gravelly, I guess.
How old were I don't imagine you're gonna know this offhand. How old were Hank and Peggy in the last season? I don't
know. I know Bobby was 13
because they're retired. There's a certain age threshold that we know that means they have to be at least 65 to 70 years old in this.
Something like that. Yeah, I imagine in their 60s probably.
Unless they're like very wealthy to be able to retire way earlier, but Hank and Peggy
60s.
Also don't feel like the type that would have.
Yeah. So, yes, but that comes out on August 4th, I think.
Cool. We will keep our eye on that one with great interest.
We will watch that with great interest. Jordan, Superman.
Ta-ta-la-la.
Jordan, you want to guess how long it is?
2:15.
Ooh, you're close. Too high though.
Too high. Ooh, okay. 2:05.
It's 2:02. Pretty spot on. You're right there. That's a good runtime.
That's pretty much what I would expect it to be.
So I should have said up top, this is my rapid fire Superman stories, real quick Superman stories.
Because we've already spent way too long talking about King of the Hill.
And I mean that was intentional. That was so I could turn it. The same with Doctor Who. That was so I can turn those into YouTube videos. So for Guy Gardner, Jordan, you want to know why? He has a bowl haircut that looks awful.
Because he's supposed to be a loser.
Okay, actually, why do you think he looks like that in the movie? Would be a better way to phrase this.
Because he's supposed to look like a loser.
Because,
or because he's British in it and he wants to look like the Beatles.
Man, you are overthinking this. You're overthinking. It is because Nathan Fillion wanted it to be comic book accurate, because that's the way he looks in the comics. That's his haircut in the comics. Is a stupid looking bull haircut.
Okay, so my first answer was right because he wanted him to look like an idiot.
I mean, I suppose if you consider his original look in the comics looking like an idiot, technically that's true. Apparently, okay.
With
Peacemaker.
Justin, with that bull haircut, you don't.
I mean, that is true. Final. Oh. No, I got two more Superman stories. Second to last Superman story. Apparently, Peacemaker, James Gunn is teased in Peacemaker Season 2. There's a big cameo, and everyone thinks it's Superman. And I agree it's probably Superman, and I also think Peacemaker's probably going to show up in Superman.
Hot theory here, having not seen Peacemaker and knowing nothing about it. It's not Superman, it's Crypto. Because that's going to be a lot cheaper than getting the actor to come in.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, Crypto's CGI, so that's going to be a little bit more expensive.
Oh, no, Justin. In the show, Crypto won't use any of his powers and will just look like a dog.
Oh, but there's no dog that plays Crypto. He's an entirely CGI dog.
Not in the show, he's not.
I mean, in the I suppose that's, but no. I suspect he will, because I think they filmed the Peacemaker and the Superman movie at the same time, and I think Peacemaker is going to be in Superman, because they're both made by James Gunn, and it just makes sense. You're not saying I'm wrong.
I'm not, but I'm also not saying you're right, because it's going to be Crypto.
It's not going to be Crypto, because Crypto is
it'll be
expensive CGI character.
No, Justin. It's just going to be a dog. It's just going to be a dog.
Okay, then. So, Christopher McQuarrie, I don't know who that is. I think he's the writer. He's a writer or director or someone. But he revealed his silence on what the Man of Steel 2 would have been. And he revealed it would have revealed what Superman would have been afraid of.
Not snapping people's necks?
That is really vague. I thought that this might reveal what Superman was afraid of, but it just says
he was afraid that he wasn't going to be allowed to snap any more necks, Justin.
He's like, the first 5 minutes of my Superman movie was, you remember Pixar's Up? It was a sequence with no dialogue that covered that character. He explains that the scene would have revealed exactly what made Superman tick, and exactly what Superman was most afraid of, and why Superman made the choices he made. That is a bold claim. That is a bold claim. So you're saying that, okay, just to be clear here, Mr. McQuarrie, did I say his name was Ralph? Christopher McQuarrie. You're saying that the first 5 minutes of your Man of Steel sequel would have completely silently defined who Superman is in 5 minutes.
I don't buy it.
That just feels arrogant. That feel, is that me? Is that just me?
I mean, I don't know. It would have been a sequel to an at best passable Superman movie, so it couldn't have been that good anyway.
Yeah, I'm way more excited for the honestly kind of good looking Superman movie.
Right?
Like,
I mean, say what you will about this one. I don't believe he's going around snapping necks.
No. I mean, he's giving the business to the press, being like, I should be allowed to illegally invade a country
and save people. Why won't you let me? If you won't let me be, then how can I flee?
Exactly. Okay, this is where movie news is funny, because okay.
Now, is it movie news or movie rumors?
Well, I'll let you answer that question yourself. So this is the headline, Jordan. Rush Hour 4 gets exciting update from Jackie Chan. So you're expecting something with some meat, right? Maybe are they going to film it?
I'm expecting him to say, I'd be willing to do it.
And Jordan, you're definitely expecting them to have asked him on the red carpet, and the exciting update is, I'm not doing the accent. I don't know. Ask the director, ask the studio, ask the writer. Hurry up. Otherwise, Chris Tucker and me will be 100 years old. We'll be old men doing Rush Hour. Which means it's probably never going to happen. Jordan, exciting update to... exciting update to... Apparently they're making a Mamma Mia 3. And to that I say, having seen Mamma Mia 1 and read the Wikipedia on what happens in Mamma Mia 2... What? What could this possibly be about? Are you just going to do the same songs again? How many times can you sing Dancing Queen?
At least 7 more.
I'm not going to look at. I'm not going to read the article because I'm never going to watch this movie because, as previously discussed, I fucking hate Mamma Mia. But apparently Sabrina Carpenter is in it, so that's leading me to my theory. That's leading me to my theory that she's Amanda Seyfried's kid from the first movie. Because I guess the second movie ends with her being pregnant and having a kid. So I'm guessing she's Amanda Seyfried's kid. But seriously, the second one repeated songs from the first one. So you're just going to do the same songs again? A third time?
Yes.
All right. Jordan. Apparently. Interesting. I don't, okay. So apparently Netflix had planned a huge Power Rangers cinematic universe. Jonathan...
Sure they did.
Jonathan Entwistle was in talks to direct a film reboot of the Power Rangers, and it was, I guess, going to be on Netflix. And apparently it would have involved... So Entwistle said, I was working on Power Rangers way back in 2018 when it was at Paramount. I was working on a movie version. And then Hasbro bought E1 and it was all shaken up again. The movie was shelved and then a TV series became the new focus. Blah, blah, blah. Hold on. So yeah, apparently it would have taken a multiverse approach with fan favorite character Tommy Oliver being the center of the world, explaining that this feels really narcissistic. Explaining that all the mythology was surrounding him being one of the most important people in the universe, because we all know what he would become. So it was basically a time-bending, huge story about stopping Draken from taking power over everything. He also shared that the Netflix series had kind of a cool King Arthur vibe. That was the angle. More mystical, more magical to start us off. I'm guessing...
So, David Frank died and they canceled it.
That's what I'm guessing. I'm guessing that's what made it... Or like, he died and then they tried to find a way to recast, which you absolutely could have. And Jason David Frank obviously wouldn't like that, but he's not here. Sorry. He would have preferred to be here.
I mean,
if he was here, if he chose to be here, he would have got to do this because they absolutely would have brought him in to do this. But yeah, it's a weird Tommy boner. Like, it's just weird that like the entirety of the Power Rangers universe centers around Tommy is a little weird.
Yeah, I mean, you could do it where it's like his son or his daughter or something.
Or something. They tried that. I was gonna say they tried that. It was that Power Ranger special with Trini, and it was bad.
I mean, there's a lot of reasons why that's bad. I don't think it's specifically because of her.
And then they went on to make an equally bad follow-up season of the show with the bad CGI. The worst part of that special is not that it's a David Yost vanity project. It's the fact that the CGI looks bad. The CGI looked really bad. Jordan, big update on Henry Cavill's Voltron movie, and it is coming out. Well, apparently filming is wrapped, and it is coming out. I'm stalling because this article is useless.
Is it the article?
It doesn't say. It just says that it's finished, wrap. It's wrapped. They filmed it. It's coming out. And that's pretty sweet.
Well, that's all right then.
That's pretty sweet. I'm actually looking forward to that. Not only because I like Henry Cavill, but because I like Voltron, and it's a giant robot. It's giant robots that turned into a bigger, gianter robot. What's not to like?
I mean,
make it big and expensive and CGI looking.
It can't be any worse than the Power Rangers one.
Like, it really can't be. That movie's terrible. I just don't do that thing whenever you show the Voltron fighting. Don't do that thing where it needs to be realistic, so it moves slow and the action sequences look bad. Like,
just have fun with
don't.
it.
I guess what I'm saying is don't be Pacific Rim 1, be Pacific Rim 2. Is what I'm saying. Have fun with it. You're an update to a story from last week. Last week we talked about the Skibidi Toilet movie. Michael Bay. The update, Jordan, is that Michael Bay has confirmed he's in fact not directing the Skibidi Toilet movie. He will only be serving in a producer capacity.
I have nothing to say on that. I will not. I cannot.
Is it because it's
I
the
will not.
It's the
I don't know what it is, so I don't know how to feel about it. Do I care? Is it bad that Michael Bay isn't on it? Is it good? Is it a thing that he would ruin like he did Transformers? I don't know how to feel about it because I don't know about the product.
All I know is I went to Google it to get footage for a short, and there was multiple hours. Multiple hours.
I just know it's a thing that's on YouTube.
I don't understand it, and it upset me. I don't get it. It made me feel old, and thus angry.
I used to be with it, but then they changed what it was. Now what I'm with isn't it. And what's it seems weird and scary to me. It'll happen to you.
Wow, you actually nailed that. Like, you got that word for word. That's impressive. That's solid. I don't even remember all the words to that. I tried one day really hard, this is an aside, but I tried one day really hard to memorize word for word the Do You Ever Go to Montgomery Burns?
So what?
Do you ever
Which one's that? I don't...
No, but I didn't shoot him. Ding. Good, because I have a hot date. A
date.
A date. Dinner alone. Dinner with friends. Watching TV alone. All right.
All right.
I'm gonna sit at home.
Go home and
ogle the girls.
Ogle the ladies in the Playboy magazine.
In the Victoria's Secret catalog. Series catalog.
Cheers.
Now, would you unhook me, please? Ding. I don't deserve this kind of shabby treatment. Ding. So, Jordan, they revealed. That was a weird aside. That was a weird moment that just happened. Jordan, they revealed who will be playing Ron, Harry, and Hermione.
Yeah.
And one of the girls is a girl of color, making everyone's head spin. The right-wing people who have to like this show are like, but woke. I don't know what to do. I need to support this because I need to support known bigot J.K. Rowling, but I can't support it because it's woke. What do I do? It was very funny, and I just felt bad for these three kids who they don't know, nor should they. I'm not upset at them. I'm upset with this thing for existing.
No, I saw some test footage or whatever where it was the girl like reading reading lines or whatever, and yeah, no, she seems like she'll be a fine Hermione. Like,
I have nothing against these kids. It was just really funny to watch the internet try to be mad at this, but unsure how to be mad at it. Like, we know we need to be mad about this. Like, it was a uniting beacon of both sides hated it because the left inherently hates it because it's Harry Potter, and the right has to like it because they have to like J.K. Rowling because the left hates J.K. Rowling. It was the funniest thing.
Yeah. No, of the casting choices that I don't like, there's really only one, and I'm just gonna say it. It's Snape because there's a lot of.
I don't trust him, Hermione.
Yeah, like I don't.
Why not?
I immediately don't trust him. Why is that?
Why is that, Harry?
It adds a lot of. It changes a lot of things.
I can believe. I mean, Jordan, is it slightly believable that Uncle Dudley?
James Potter, why are you hanging Snape from the tree? Is it because of his race? What? No. Jordan, no, I'm just a bully.
Jordan. I mean, we both know Uncle Dudley. He says the N-word, right? I mean, he says the N-word. If ever a character, a snooty British character. He said the N-word at least once.
And so then that leads back to Hermione, where
he's an actively bad casting.
The kinder people who are like, in good faith bringing up problems, have pointed out that, yeah, it makes it the only reason why casting Hermione as a person of color becomes a little bit sticky and a little bit uncomfortable is because later in the series, when Malfoy goes around calling people mudblood, it also has some uncomfortable implications.
Right.
The only reason why it's not so bad there is because he's supposed to be bigoted.
Right? And
he's supposed to be a bad person. So it does work on that level.
I am normally all for race bending, right? All for it. Totally for it. 1000% for it. But in this context, it really is just stunt casting to appear to be woke, which doesn't make any sense anyway, because you're trying to appeal to a group of people that are going to hate you on concept. Like, you're never going to... Like, casting a black man to be progressive doesn't really make any sense in this, because any progressive people hate this. So they're never going to watch it, so that doesn't entice them to watch it, and then it just makes the people who are not progressive, to put it kindly, it puts them off because you're like, well, it's woke or whatever, right? So it doesn't make anybody happy, so why do it? Why not just make him look accurate? At least she has a brown hair.
Like, it just comes across like they're doing it.
J.K. Rowling, they already hate you. They already hate you. I'm sorry.
Specifically, oh no, I mean, it's not J.K. Rowling that's making the casting decision.
She's a lead. She's a lead producer. She's making all the choices on this one. She's like heavily involved. So yeah, she signed off on these guys.
That's not what I heard. But anyway, no, the thing that makes it frustrating in that example is that it's just. There's so many specific lines which then become more meaning. Like, there's just, so the African American teacher is the evil one,
right? And he's in the you put the African American teacher in the basement,
and
that feels shitty.
You deny the African American teacher the teaching position that he's wanted for years. Why? Is that because of the color of his skin, Dumbledore, who's very white? And
then having Hermione be... I mean, you point out that her being called being a person of color. It's like, her getting called mudblood by a blonde-haired, blue-eyed kid, unless you're going to race bend him, which completely defeats the point of that character. It's like, it just has its own uncomfortable connotations, and nobody wins. Nobody wins. So I just don't get it. It's a stupid decision. I just feel bad for these kids because they're just gonna take a lot of shit over something that they
one of them is.
I mean, they all are because they're all in this.
Right. But one of them is going to get a lot more shit. Based on something that she has no control over.
No, but I mean I mean, yes, but they're also all going to take shit just by being in this, like being in the Harry Potter thing because they chose to be in the.
Sure, but when I go into the comment sections of the announcements of these castings, it's really only the one of them that the people are complaining about.
Oh, I know.
The other two, the people are like, "Oh my god, he has blue eyes." Like they're praising things.
No, I'm talking about the people who. Like hate it. Who hate it because it's made by J.K. Rowling because it's Harry Potter. Like they're gonna get shit for being in it because it's Harry Potter. So it's just like, why add that additional layer of you're right? She's getting picked apart for how she looks. Like why do that to some poor kid
for a thing she has no control over?
Right. Finally, Jordan, I sent you a trailer this week. I would like you to tell me what that movie where Keanu Reeves is an angel is about.
Oh, right, that one. So
all I saw that he was an angel, and I was like, I just it's Keanu Reeves as an angel. I'm already loving this, but it's gonna be way funnier if you have, and you have to be really specific. I need to know plot details.
I only watched the trailer the one time. I'll try. So he is an angel, Gabriel, and he wants to be a guardian angel. I get from what I remember for years he's only been allowed to protect like small scale things, and so then he ends up going down to help I can't remember the actor's name. Aziz
Ansari. Yeah, he directed this.
Yeah, him. He goes down to be his guardian angel, and then zaniness ensues, and then I guess
Hijinks.
the other people hijinks ensue, and then I guess the other people are able to see Keanu Reeves because there's one girl who seems to be the friend of Aziz,
Aziz
that
Ansari.
dude, Aziz Ansari, and she's like, he's really hot. I'm gonna go sit on his face, and Aziz Ansari is like, well, I mean, I'm sure he's going to be very confused by that, but you go ahead. And then that's all I remember of the trailer.
Interesting. Yeah, I was.
It looks fun. It looks like one that I wouldn't mind watching.
I was like, it's Keanu Reeves as an angel. That sounds fun.
Keanu Reeves is one of those actors where I generally enjoy most things that he's in.
Yeah, I've never disliked him. I've never disliked a movie he was in that I can think of. I even like that weird one where he's a baseball coach. It's called Hardball, and he smokes cigarettes the whole time.
I don't think I've seen that.
I watched it on TV once. That was back in the day when you could watch movies on TV. I watched it on TV once. I don't think I've ever. I think it's technically an R-rated movie that has like curses in it. I've only ever watched the television version.
I understand. You were a child.
Oh,
You wanted to go your own way.
I was. That is an extra long version of the news, but I wasn't going to talk about Doctor Who, but it didn't feel right. We began this show talking about Ncuti Gatwa as the Doctor, his first Avengers. we the Christmas special was like one of our first episodes, so it felt wrong to not send him off and talk about how he turned into Billy Piper for some reason.
While it was relevant.
Yeah, exactly. While it was relevant, yeah, that he turned into Billy Piper for some reason. Weird, very weird. Anyway, today's show, sponsorship section. Jordan, you didn't do that end of the news thing. One job. It's like your one job. On today's show is brought to you by. Today's show is brought to you by Audible. Audible.com. Audible.com is great if you like audiobooks. You like listening to your books be read to you, and you don't like to actually use your eye holes. It's great for that. And if you use our link in the description, you get started right away, Jordan. Right this moment with a credit that you can use to get, so far as I know, anything on their website. Any book you want. And sometimes those books are like $20 and you get it for free. You just listen to it.
And then once you have it, it's part of your collection, and so even if you stop paying monthly, you still have access to that. Plus they they every now and then they have 2-for-1 deals and stuff like that on there too, which is kind of cool. And they have an entire category, which is the Plus category, where when you pay monthly, they have books in there that are free. So on top of your 1 credit a month, you can just go to that section and listen to a bunch of books for free at any time.
Crystal clear audio. You can pause it and start it whenever you're ready. And if you click the link in our description, you sign up right now, it tells Audible that we're your friends and they help us out. You help us out, you help the show out. Also, I keep forgetting to mention this, we also have a Patreon you could sign up for if you want to and pay us for just pennies.
Buy us a coffee.
Pennies a day. You could feed us. We eat penny soup. Yum yum. Delicious penny soup.
Iron.
Loving that.
Copper.
Loving that.
Copper.
I'm pretty sure pennies are mostly iron.
We don't have pennies in Canada anymore.
Yeah, but in America they do, and our audience is predominantly American for some reason.
Right, but no, they can give us a dime or a nickel.
Go figure. We are weirdly appealing to Americans. Go figure that out.
Well, to their people, anyway.
To their people. Anyway, those are both in the description down below. On with the show, Jordan. And so this week...
On with the show, this is it.
The new Karate Kid movie came out. And I wanted to watch the new Karate Kid. And we had such fun doing Kung Fu movies the last time. We thought that we'd do Kung Fu Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. This time it's personal. Yeah, I did both! I did both, Jordan. I did both this time. It's personal and Electric Boogaloo. I win. I win the title game.
Kung Fu 2, Electric Personal Boogaloo.
No, you just took what I did and you just added more irrelevant words to make it sound as though
I merged them together.
Just to make it sound like it's a new thing when you just took my thing but made it worse.
So I did the Disney effect.
You did, yeah.
I'm learning from the pros.
And the Karate Kid Legends effect. Oh, we're gonna get there. And then later, we're doing a review for Karate Kid Legends. Jordan, I'm just gonna not to give away the review for Karate Kid Legends, but it's not gonna be.
Whoa!
It's not gonna be.
Don't jump the rails.
It's tepid at best, but I still feel as though because friends of the show, Haley and Jake, are watching Lilo and Stitch for an episode on her channel, and I feel like we still had the better time. We weren't enthusiastic about ours, but it still was better than Lilo and Stitch. Am I wrong? Would you have preferred to see Lilo and Stitch?
Hell no.
That's what I'm saying. We had a better time.
Because the reason why we had a better time is because we went in with very low expectations, and ours wasn't remaking a beloved classic.
I mean, it kind of did. Anyway.
No.
But until then,
technically a sequel.
Until then, we're gonna talk about some kung fu movies or kung fu like movies.
Movies that have kung fu choreography in them.
The line as to whether some of these are kung fu is probably debatable. Anyway, what's your first one?
Absolutely debatable for some of them. So my first one is Rumble in the Bronx, which was fun. It's a Jackie Chan one. Also, as a fun aside, a good chunk of it was filmed in Vancouver, Canada.
Oh, interesting. So it's not in the Bronx.
And it's not, no. A good chunk of it was filmed in and around Vancouver, Canada. And to the point where apparently, and I didn't notice this because I wasn't paying attention to it, but apparently in some of the shots, you can see the mountains in the background.
That's funny. It's a decidedly West Coast thing in this East Coast city. Unless the movie doesn't actually take place in the Bronx.
Oh no! It absolutely is set in the Bronx area of New York City.
That's very funny.
It's supposed to be New York.
Rumble in the Bronx. Jackie Chan's first big hit, I believe, in America, if I'm not mistaken. That was the thing that made him famous in America.
I could believe that. I'm not sure. I just know that it had a successful worldwide theatrical run.
A big hit.
Oh yeah, here we go. And brought Chan into North American mainstream.
So was that one?
So it was
Chinese?
It's one of those ones. Well, that's where it's weird because I was curious about that. And according to the Wikipedia, kind of. I don't know if it's specifically like film wise but voice wise, basically whatever race they were was the language they spoke. So the white people all spoke English.
I noticed that with some Jackie Chan movies where it's like sometimes there are some characters who are speaking English and aren't dubbed, but then other times there are ones who are they are being dubbed and they're very definitely not speaking English. That makes sense.
Yeah. So like in this one, apparently when it was filmed, Jackie Chan was speaking Cantonese, but then they went and they dubbed over him, which is why him and like the Asian characters feel weird, is because they were all speaking whatever language they naturally spoke, but then got dubbed over. Whereas all the white people did not.
See, when you get an extra confusing one is I think it was one of the Drunken Masters, where the original version, which had been lost to time, was in Cantonese. So the only Chinese version that exists is the Mandarin version. So it's dubbed in Chinese, so the lip flaps are still all off, but it's not in English.
That's weird. So basically Jackie Chan is there to visit his uncle who's going to get married to an African-American woman, which is where I said it was very weird because it's like there's no dubbing issues with her. She just speaks English, but then the uncle she's marrying, it was all like, those classic films where the lips are just slightly off.
Yeah. Well,
it was that.
Well, that happens, and not to jump ahead to the Raid 2, but there's a scene in the Raid 2, where I'm watching the dub because I can't be bothered to find the subtitle version. But there's a scene where they start speaking English. At least it seems like they're speaking English. because the lip flaps all of a sudden are matching, and I'm like, that's weird. And then he references the fact that he was speaking another language, even though it was all English to me. It's very weird.
That's where this one would have been funny, because it's like, even if I had listened into it in a version where it wasn't dubbed over and it was just him speaking, it still would have been half the movie would have been English and half the movie wouldn't have been. It's
Absolutely.
a very weird.
But did the characters who speak English just react as though they're speaking English if they're speaking?
They're just talking to the like. In this, it's they've dubbed over it.
No, I mean,
as far as the movie's concerned.
In the Chinese version, so is it like she's speaking English to him and he's speaking Chinese to her back? Because that, you're right. That would also be weird, because you're like, wait, so is she just hearing, like, is it that she speaks Chinese? Because like, is it one of those? Did you look into the Chinese version? Like, is it mostly the same?
Oh, I don't even know if there is a Chinese version. I just kind of assume there is, because it came out in Hong Kong.
Yeah, I'm assuming there probably is.
So apparently, in the United States version, the running time is 90 minutes. The Hong Kong version is 106 minutes.
Huh. Interesting.
So the Hong Kong version is longer for some reason, which I don't know why. Release, I guess it would be under. The film was the first Chinese film to be simultaneously released in China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. And then New Line Cinema acquired the film for international distribution.
Interesting. So yeah, I'm guessing in Hong Kong it's probably in either Mandarin or Cantonese. But
yeah, I don't know.
Whenever I watch the dub, whenever I find one of these movies and there's a dub, I usually check the other version to see how much it matches up, and if the dialogue has changed a bunch, then I'll watch it in its original language, because then that's the actual version of the movie I'm getting. Like, if the dub changes shit, I won't watch the dub.
That's fair. I'm not like that, but Rumble in the Bronx. It was fun. It was an interesting one. The language choices and stuff. Also, apparently, I was reading. And some behind the scenes stuff, and apparently there's a scene where Jackie Chan is climbing off a boat, or getting off a boat or something, getting onto a dock in some regard, and he apparently, in the behind the scenes stuff, I don't remember if it was sprained or broke, but he did something to his ankle, and apparently the shot which he did is the shot that's in the movie.
Oh, neat.
So there's a scene where you can see him getting off a dock, and his ankle is twisted funny. If you pay attention, it looks like it. Yeah, you can tell apparently.
Okay, so my first one is a movie called City Hunter. Ka-cha! And City Hunter it's an adaptation. Okay, normally I can power through dubs, because a lot of them are like, they're mostly trying to do this with the tone it was originally intended. And I started off watching the dub for City Hunter, but it was really difficult because the voice they chose for Jackie Chan doesn't sound anything like Jackie Chan. And I didn't look into this, but it makes me wonder if they chose the voice for him for a particular reason, for a reason I'll get to in a second. But it was really hard to get into for that reason. And the dialogue was really hokey and cartoony. And I'm like, why is this so silly? And the reason why it's so silly is because it's based on an anime. City Hunter is a shonen anime. It's shonen manga. So this is and they did make it into an anime. I don't know if it came out after this. And there's been a bunch of subsequent remakes. And he's actually a character in that Shonen Jumpstar game?
Yes.
I watched a really good video on the actual anime because I was fascinated. But he's in that game. He's the guy he just has a gun. He's just got a pistol. That's Jackie Chan's character in this. I don't remember what his name is, but
interesting.
And the plot of it is basically it's one of those animes because it's an older school anime. It's like breaks down to like 3 parts, and like the first part is he's teamed up with this guy, and then that guy dies, and then one of the characters is the sister, and the character is like he's a shonen anime character, so he waffles in the anime from being hyper serious to being his whole gag is he's basically Brock from Pokemon. He's into women. He's a pervert. That's his whole bit.
Pervert.
Yeah, and so he
classic Japanese trope.
Right. So he hits on women, and then she beats him up with a hammer. And I watched a kind of a real good video about it, and so it plays like that, where it's trying to be a live action anime, but it was just too over the top for me to get into. Where I'm like, this just seems like it's probably better in the anime. But the part of it that kind of made me go, this is interesting, is it's made by a Chinese company, and it's obviously originates in Japan, and Japanese and Chinese people hate each other. So I can't believe Japan let China make this. It's not very good. Like, the Jackie Chan stuff is okay, but he disappears for like huge chunks of the movie, only for it to be about these random characters who I could only ascertain with no other knowledge that they must be characters from the show. Like, oh, this must be like a Joey or a Tristan or like a secondary, or you know what I mean? Like, they're friends, that they clearly have their own special abilities or whatever. But I'm watching this because it's a Jackie Chan movie, and it's just Jackie Chan just is kind of barely in it. There's one particular stunt he does though, which he's jumping away from an explosion off of a balcony. That is pretty impressive. That's like, you could tell he did that for real. He's definitely in that age range where he's like peak physical condition, and he can absolutely still do this. But yeah, it's every time he falls or does a pratfall, it does a little bonk bonk bonk, you know, like cartoon sound effects. It's just, it was hard for me to get into, and I tried watching it in Chinese, and it just wasn't. Also, the version of it I got, the subtitles were like off, so it was like they were off like by a second, so it made it hard to like put the dialogue to the action. And then randomly midway, there's just like a musical number, like just I sent you the video of it. It's just random, like there's no context for it. It's just all of a sudden they're singing, dancing, and there's no subtitles. So I don't know if the music or the song has anything to do with the plot, if it's moving the plot forward, if it's introducing characters. I have no idea what's happening. They're just singing a song for some reason. It was super weird. It was not very good. That is City Hunter.
So, my next one came out in 2023. It's a Chinese action comedy film. And so, okay. With most of the ones that I've watched this week, the Kung
Chinese
Fu type
action
thing,
comedy.
Most of the ones that I watched this week, they fit what I would, even the ones that are in a different language, especially the ones that are in a different language, they fit kind of that image of what a kung fu movie or that kind of thing is for me. But this one felt very North American, is how I would choose to word it.
Oh yeah, It's kung
which
fu
is
not
weird.
done by people who know kung fu.
Well, but it is, because it was made in China for China. Like, it's just it feels like, and so that's where it was weird for me, because like I'm watching this one, and it starts off like they're speaking in Mandarin, Chinese, but because of the way, it's really hard to explain and really hard to describe, but just because of how it's filmed and how it comes across and how it's treated, it feels like a Hollywood picture. Like, it feels like one that's made in Hollywood, not in China.
Interesting. Well, probably because they're trying to appeal to an American market, if I had to guess.
But it's in Chinese. Like, it feels like maybe this is just me. Maybe if you watched it, you'd have a different opinion. But as I was watching, like, the first 10, 15, even 20 minutes, like, I kept waiting for them to switch over to English. Like, it feels like a movie which should have been in English. Like there's another universe where this movie was made in Hollywood and it's in English.
I mean, yeah,
and it's for a American audience.
It is believable that China could have poached or bought a script from an American writer. That is definitely within the realm of possibility.
Because
That's for sure.
So the plot of it is basically Jackie Chan's character is a prolific stuntman. He's Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
Right. He's been working in the film film industry as a stuntman for years, but he hurt himself, and so as a result, he fell back on some payments, behind on some payments.
Sounds like it's the wrestler, but with Jackie Chan.
I don't. Yeah, sure.
The wrestler he's an old wrestler who is retired, but has to do a wrestling because he's injured, because he's old.
Well, basically, he goes to his estranged daughter, because he asks her for help, and she gets her boyfriend, who is a lawyer, to take up his case because they want to take Jackie Chan's.
Oh, I think I know this movie because I think his daughter hates it because it's really like. Because him and his daughter have a bad relationship, and it's like the daughter's like forgives him or something in it, or something to that effect.
Yeah, she does. I believe by the end of it, end up forgiving him. But yeah, it basically feels like it's supposed to be a take on Jackie Chan's personal life, or at least that's how it came across to me.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like.
And it ends where like Jackie Chan agrees to do like one last job, and he can't do it, and then he decides not to do it, and then from what I remember of the ending, him and his daughter reconcile and stuff like that, and there's a point where like she has to be his I don't know what it's called, where when the person is not capable of making their own decisions in court, and so you have a daughter or a son or a parent.
I know what you mean.
Making the decision for you.
I don't remember what it's called, but I know what you mean.
She is basically that for him in the movie at a certain point. And it was fine. It was a little bit long, especially because it was in a different language.
It was not fair.
126 minutes. So, do with that what you will. That's like 2 something. But it was fine. It's just, it's one of those rare instances where it's like, it felt weird. It felt like it should be in English.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like that's one day maybe I'll find a way to make you watch this one so that you can see what I mean. But that's right on.
My next one is I had to get some Bruce Lee rep on this list, and so I started watching this movie in English, and I had to stop and I had to rewatch it in I don't remember what language it's in, but it's in Chinese because it was really distracting that the guy playing Bruce Lee didn't sound anything like. Oh, sorry, just real quick with City Hunter. I think the reason why he doesn't sound like Jackie Chan is maybe they got the guy who dubs the anime to play the Jackie Chan character. And that's why he doesn't sound.
I could believe that.
But here it was distracting that he didn't sound like Bruce Lee. Like he doesn't sound anything like Bruce Lee. And like I know what Bruce Lee sounds like, and I just couldn't get into it. So I went back and I put the Chinese version on. And this is Way of the Dragon. And it's Bruce Lee ends up at this Chinese restaurant in Italy that is being hassled by this local gang or whatever, and the story doesn't matter. It's just a flimsy device to get you to the point where Bruce Lee beats up guys with nunchucks. And let me tell you, when Bruce Lee beats up guys with nunchucks, Jordan, what do you think is going to happen, Jordan?
I mean, I assume some bones get broken.
It's awesome. The thing I love about Bruce Lee is he no mercy. He's just like if he's going for you, he's there to hurt you. The thing I discovered
he's there to make you suffer.
Is some of his movies can be a little slow, where it's like he spends a great deal of time slowly working his way, like he's taking off his jacket, he's walking off to the side, he's like wah, 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 wah. And you're like, dude, come on, man, just get to it. Like the final. So this movie is also first introduction of Chuck Norris. So Chuck Norris without a beard shows up. It's very weird. Something felt wrong with the universe. I didn't like it.
I didn't like looking
at his bald chin. It upset me. but he does a very long. The climax of the movie is he does a very long fight with Chuck Norris. But the lead up to it goes on for what felt like at least a minute to a minute and a half of him, like, he takes off, like I say, he takes off his shirt, he walks off to the side, he winds up, he does a bunch of air punches. Chuck Norris does the same thing, he takes off his shirt, and it's just them standing opposite end of each other, like swinging in the air, and then they finally fight, and it's just like, this is still badass, and I still love Bruce Lee, but like, yeah, this could be a tad tighter, you know? And yeah, the plot is pretty meaningless from that point. It's just, again, he has a love interest. It was hard for me to really get invested in it. That's not the point of these movies. The point is, again, Bruce Lee, badass, had a good time. That's Way of the Dragon.
So, okay, my next one, which, as an aside, I didn't realize was based on a comic book, but is Bulletproof Monk.
Really? That's based on a comic book?
Apparently.
Oh.
Comic book written by Brett Lewis with art by Michael Avon Oeming.
Yeah, it has the guy who plays Master Roshi in the Dragon Ball Evolution.
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh, Chow Yun-Fat?
Chow Yun-Fat. He's also the pirate, one of the pirate lords in the Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
Oh, interesting. Didn't know that. I didn't know that was the same guy. But yeah, it's got him, it's got Stifler, and Jamie King, whoever that is.
Sean William Scott.
Yeah, that's what I said.
That's what I said. Stifler. That's what I said.
So, okay. This movie was not very good.
Well, it's just... Okay. When I was watching you watch it.
It received negative reviews, and it was a commercial failure, so I'm not the only person who didn't think it was very good.
So I'm watching you watch it, right? And still, as you're leading to this, you're like, it has Sean William Scott. I hear it has Sean William Scott in it, and then I think about the first little bit of the movie you were watching, and I don't understand how Sean William Scott is involved in this movie. Because it was Chow Yun-Fat, like, training and shit. He looked like he was the main character. How is Sean William Scott involved in this in any capacity?
So, okay. I
am confused and therefore angry.
My one thing with this movie is, and I will answer your question, but before I do, my one thing with this movie as I'm watching it, Sean William Scott is doing like kung fu and shit, and I just don't.
Oh, and he looks bad. Yeah, I know. That's the thing I've discovered is when the kung fu.
I don't buy it. Is more the thing. I don't buy that he is doing any of the things that you see in the movie.
When you watch enough kung fu shit, you notice when it looks bad. Like it's just you start to notice, like, yeah, this isn't good kung fu or karate.
To answer your question. Basically there's like a scroll or whatever, which the monks, they're always protecting, and the person who is in charge of protecting it, usually has to do, there's a prophecy where they have to fulfill the 3 things, and once they do, they get the power of the scroll, which essentially makes them functionally immortal.
So it's a big old MacGuffin hunt, is what you're saying.
Basically, and well, kind of. And so Chow Yun-Fat is the current, in the beginning of the movie, he has been finally accepted as the protector. So then his master turns old and he becomes functionally immortal. And so he lives for like 60 years or something like that, 60, 70 years, and stays eternally young, and is in New York looking for essentially the next person to pass it on to, which is when he runs into Stifler. Gotcha. And Stifler steals the scroll from him, and then the events of the movie take place. Also, there's a Nazi who wants to have the scroll and be functionally immortal.
Isn't there? Oh, so he was a Nazi.
Yeah,
because you were unsure as to whether he was a Nazi. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's an Iron Cross. It sure looks like a Nazi.
Right, but he didn't have the swastika, so there was question.
Yeah.
There was reasonable doubt.
I knew he had to be German at the very least, because I'm like, as soon as I see the Iron Cross, I'm like, he's German. There's no way he's not German.
No, from what I understand, he's supposed to be Nazi. It's I saw. So okay. Oh, hold on. Oh, there was a.
Bad?
I
Is that
saw
what
a
you're looking for?
comment.
Bad?
Well, there was a comment that I saw, um, which I think perfectly kind of explains what it is, um, or like the vibe that it gives. It's kung fu movie. I'm paraphrasing. It's kung fu movie by way of American Pie.
Yeah, fair.
It's technically a kung fu movie, but with no depth.
No. I mean, look, you've got, like, one of the Kung Fu movie, like, masters in Chun Yao Fat. I mean, he's Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. He knows his shit. He's good. Like, he's good. I enjoy him in these movies. But yeah, this looked bad. I will say. I remember the trailers for it. I remember it looked. It was like, I think it's in that. What year did this come out?
2003.
They definitely did a Matrix thing in there, right? Like a slow motion or a camera swing, or he's wearing sunglasses.
I'm gonna say probably, but I'm gonna admit to you that it's not memorable enough for me to specifically remember.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Is that it for Bulletproof Monk?
That's it for Bulletproof Monk.
All right. So speaking of things you don't remember but you know are off, my next one is a little movie called The Street Fighter Movie. Now here's the thing: we've talked about this a lot with the current Street Fighter movie that's coming out, and we'll say it about the old one as well. I don't know enough about Street Fighter to know if this is wrong. It felt wrong. Like when I was watching it, like there was points where I'm like, this feels off. Like, because the plot of it is that the various number one, to my knowledge, within the context of the Street Fighter games, it's a tournament, right? The Street Fighter is a tournament that they're all participating in.
I'm pretty sure, and I think that's why you fly from place to place on the map.
Right. So, like, I guess they didn't want to, maybe because it's vicinity to the Mortal Kombat movie, perhaps, they didn't want to do a tournament. So, there's no tournament in this. It's instead takes place on a island nation that is being fought over by two factions. One led by M. Bison, played by the guy who plays Gomez from the Addams Family, in a performance that is phenomenal because he is in a completely different movie. He is so over the top. Like, I think Nostalgia Critic has made fun of his performance, of course, but like he has all these hilarious lines. His desire is to create. He's like, I believe that you could win by way of the fist. Everything should be settled by fist-to-fist combat, and he's trying to create the most genetically perfect being or whatever. But he flies, just like in the game. He has like technology that lets him float around. So the final confrontation is him floating around just like he does in the game. Blanca shows up at one point, and like it looks like Blanca. There's an explanation that I googled it, matches his backstory in the game, which is like the reason why he's green and has the orange hair is because he was experimented on. And has lightning powers. That's why he looks like that. But
interesting.
Yeah, Guile is in the movie, and he's played by Van Damme, who has been told that Guile is the main character for some reason. So he is the main character of this movie. Everything sort of revolves around him and him creating a team, and them all. He basically creates a Suicide Squad. Ken and Ryu are not the main characters, even though I always understood them to be the main characters of Street Fighter, but they're not in this. And they are con men who also know karate. And they...
I always thought the main characters were Ken and Ryu.
Right? They're two con men.
And maybe Chun-Li.
She's in this, but she is a reporter, like an international reporter, who is trying to get a story on Guile. And yet Ken and Ryu are con men who know karate, and they wind up in jail and working for Guile, doing some sort of secret. No, they're working for the Guile and the Freedom Fighters, and their whole bit is they're trying to infiltrate M. Bison's organization or whatever to stop him and shut him down.
Right, they gotta go stop Hayachi. Gotcha.
Yeah. And like a lot of the characters, like Vega shows up and he's got the mask and the claw, and as someone who only like surface level knows Street Fighter, I'm like, they look like the Thing. It looks like the Thing, and they're fighting. It looks like Street Fighter, but this feels wrong. Like, I don't. That's my whole thing with this. I don't know enough about it to tell you exactly what's wrong, but it feels wrong.
And you just kept waiting for Spider-Man to swing in and save the day because, Street Fighter X Marvel, or Apocalypse to show up and just drill the shit out of people.
No, I was not expecting. What I was expecting was for Ryu to do a goddamn Hadouken.
Hadouken!
Which he doesn't. He does not do a Hadouken. Also, Dulcime's there as well, and he's not
Shoryuken!
He's not a stretchy guy. He's a... Oh, speaking of Street Fighter, yeah, there's a random scene in City Hunter, which... Jackie Chan turns into all the Street Fighter characters. It's very weird. It explained. It just comes across the movie paid a lot of money for the Street Fighter license, and they were going to use it. He turns into Chun-Li at one point. It's very strange. But yeah, this movie's bad. It's bad.
Weird.
Like Jean-Claude Van Damme he thinks he's the main character. He can barely speak English, and all of his line reads are terrible. The only one who's any good is the guy, I forget the actor's name, Raul something. But he's the only one who's any good. And yeah, he is in a completely different movie. He's having a great time. I fully believe he played Street Fighter. Oh, the other interesting thing is, it says it's based off of Street Fighter 2, not Street Fighter, in the opening credits.
I see.
Bad.
I understand.
Bad movie.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
That is Street Fighter, Jordan.
So it's funny earlier that you mentioned Rush Hour because I watched the first Rush Hour, and
nobody understands what they're coming out of your mouth.
Okay. So we're gonna address the Chris Tucker of it all. So he is an obnoxious character in this movie. He's supposed to be an obnoxious character in this movie.
That's what I was gonna say. It's his whole bit.
That's the point of his character. But
he's a black sidekick in the 2000s. It's his whole bit.
Yeah. So
they were all like that, Jordan. The only thing about this movie is it's surprising Martin Lawrence didn't do it.
It just feels like there's another universe where there's like where it's like Chris Rock or
yeah, exactly. You could slide in any one of them. It'd be the same movie.
Why am I blanking on his name? The one that's in Jumanji.
Oh, Kevin Hart.
I feel like Kevin Hart would have been more fun.
Yeah, any one of those guys. It's the same movie. It's just a screamy black guy.
But he's really annoying.
That was probably racist.
Yeah, probably. I was saying that I think that they do have distinct... I want to clarify this for the people that are going to come for Justin. We don't agree on this. I don't think they're all the same. I think they are distinct and different individuals who have their own style.
I should clarify. Those people aren't all the same. I mean, the character is all the same no matter who plays it. They're all written exactly the same stereotypical way.
And I think...
So the writing of the performance.
I think that the guy from Jumanji would have been the better pick.
Yeah, they all could have done it. You could see it. You could see it with Chris Rock. You could see it with any one of them. Martin Lawrence. He did make this movie. It was called Bad Boys.
But overall, it's a fun movie.
It's pretty fun.
You know, there's a reason why there's 7 of them.
A fun anecdote about that: there is only 2 of them. No,
there's three.
Three of them. 3 of them.
You literally mentioned earlier about how Jackie Chan was like, if you want to make a 4th one, you got to get on it.
The bit at the beginning where he's like, they're like, understand the words that are coming out of your mouth. That is apparently based on a true story that Chris Tucker thought that Jackie Chan couldn't speak English because the first time they met, he didn't say anything.
That's funny. Yeah, no, I mean it's pretty standard Jackie Chan movie. There's not really too much to say about it. He's a police officer. Comes from Hong Kong to save a little girl. He does save the little girl. It's a win-win, happy ending. Yay, yay, hurrah, hurrah.
So last time,
have you ever seen Rush Hour?
No, I've never seen Rush Hour. No.
Huh. Okay. All right.
So last
that's really all I have to say about it.
Pardon me. The last time we talked about kung fu movies we talked about a particular subgenre of Jackie Chan movie I like to call "We Need to Explain Why Jackie Chan Can Jackie Chan." And we can't just have Jackie Chan be Jackie Chan. He needs a reason why he can Jackie Chan. And last time we talked about the medallion. And in that video, I mentioned the tuxedo being the other one that came out in the same year, or within the same year, couple years anyway. The tuxedo. It's Jackie Chan. It's Jennifer Love Hewitt. Jackie Chan is a taxi driver who has a soul patch. Where I discovered that, Jordan, I don't think any man could pull off a soul patch.
Well, clearly you need to shave down to just a soul patch and try and make it work.
There's no one on the planet who could pull off a soul patch. I now know that.
I think you can. I think you got to give it a try.
No, there's no one. There is no one. And he gets, based on his reckless taxi driving, he gets attacked by thugs and he gets beat up. And the guy's like, "Why didn't you bust out like Kung Fu?" And he's like, "Do you think all Chinese people know Kung Fu? I'm not Bruce Lee."
You fucking racist.
And I was like, "That's a funny joke." And then then he ends up driving for I forget who plays him, but he ends up driving for this James Bond type character who's a super badass. And he there's only one, the guy likes him or whatever, and there's only one rule: don't touch my suit. And he ends up getting, you think he's dead, but he's in the hospital. He gets attacked, and Jackie Chan puts on the suit, and surprise, it's a technologically super advanced suit that gives him Jackie Chan powers. So why can't he Jackie Chan, Jordan?
Because of technology.
Because of the suit. And then he fights an evil spy movie bad guy whose plan is he wants to poison the water hole.
I want to poison the water hole.
He wants to poison a bunch of water sources, and they can't figure out how. And then in the end, it's revealed that he wants to use water striders to land on the water, making it uncontaminable. So the only water that is available is his bottled water, driving up the price of his bottled water and making him wealthy. And it's got Jennifer Love Hewitt in it. They make a crack about her boobs. And then there's a bit at the end that she does something that doesn't make any sense, where she just out of nowhere turns heel and gives the bad guy the super advanced technology suit. She's like, "Here, you put this on." And she's like, "You put this on," right as all these army guys are about to come through, and it's Jackie Chan about to rescue her. And it's like, why did you give him the suit? That's really weird. You had no reason to give him the suit. He didn't know that the suit existed or what it was, and you just gave it to him. Purely, it seems to have a climax where Jackie Chan gets a new suit and he fights the bad guy and they have a showdown. But other than that, she has no reason to give him the suit. It's really bizarre. It's truly bizarre. It's all right. It's better than the medallion, and that's maybe because I like Jennifer Love Hewitt. But it's quite I thought it was quite a bit better than the medallion. Medallion was bad. Thus far, I guess now City Hunter. But those are the only two bad Jackie Chan movies I've ever seen. I did derive enjoyment from this. That is The Tuxedo.
So, okay. My last rapid fire. Okay, so, and this touches on the most recent one that we watched. I never really understood what the difference was between Kung Fu and karate.
No, me neither.
They both just kind of look the same to me.
Someone's gonna get mad at us in the comments, but there's a difference. I'm like, it doesn't look any different on film. I'm sorry.
So I just kind of quickly Googled it just to kind of get an idea, and the biggest. I mean, there's a lot of nuance.
Karate is Japanese and Kung Fu is, first of all, it's Gung Fu, not Kung Fu, and it's Chinese. That's really the main difference.
Yeah, that's the two big differences, which I didn't.
Yeah, they share similarities, which is why they look similar, but they're all based on the same philosophy. But karate, the whole bit about karate being for self-defense, That they tell you that in your first lesson of karate. This is not to look cool in an action movie. It's just for self-defense. Gung Fu's different. Gung Fu is to attack, meant to attack.
Well, the other big difference that Google was informing me of, not but 5 seconds ago, minutes ago, anyways, is the other big difference is Kung Fu teaches you to use weapons.
Yes, that is also true.
Whereas karate is more about, actual hand-to-hand combat. But anyways, that's a very long-winded way of saying I watched the Jaden Smith version of Karate Kid.
Well, to be fair, that movie was initially called The Kung Fu Kid, and it wouldn't surprise me because I always thought that movie was really separate. We'll get into it when we talk about Karate Kid later, but there's a lot of scenes in that Jaden Smith movie that are pretty much exactly the same as the original. But an anecdote I read was that this was initially called The Kung Fu Kid, and it was later on or late in it that they changed the title. But it was never meant to be a Karate Kid movie.
I mean, yeah, and there's also just
which feels wrong because
from what I would say is it feels like it was supposed to be an homage to the Karate Kid, like a nice way or a nice head nod kind of thing, because until this new one where obviously Jackie Chan and the guy from the original Karate Kid end up coming together. Until that movie, there's really nothing in this one which explicitly ties it to the original.
Doesn't need to? Really?
No, it was fine being a
but there's scenes like when they're like, this wasn't a Karate Kid remake initially. There's scenes
where he smacks the fly with the fly swatter or whatever and catches the fly. That's like 1 for 1 from the original for one thing.
The bit where he's drunk, that scene's exactly the same. There's a lot of scenes which are like, there's a lot of moments which play out, or the fact that Mr. Han is also a groundskeeper, a maintenance guy. Like, there's a lot of similarities between these. Maybe in like a pass through, they saw that they were connected, and I heard the story why it got changed to being called The Karate Kid. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head though.
But the other big thing to me that's different between it and the original is the kid in question is much younger, being only 12, which makes him come across a lot more whiny at times.
A little bit.
I want to go home.
But to be fair, I think he's gotten beaten up by then.
Oh, he's gotten beaten up, and this is where I will argue this to the day I die. I think Jaden Smith's character has a much harder time than the original one does. The original one moves across country, and they still speak the same language. The culture is still the same. Nothing has really changed for Daniel Russo in the original movie, whereas in this one, Dre literally moves countries to a country with a very different culture than his own.
Forget culturally different, just an entirely different and difficult language to learn. Hard it is to learn Mandarin or Cantonese. I think they're speaking Cantonese.
All because his mother wanted to move for a job. Yeah, no, I feel bad for the kid. In this one,
they weren't moving into nice enough accommodations to warrant the global. The global my one criticism of this movie is there's no real reason for it to take place in China, other than the obvious. They wanted to sell it to the Chinese market because it had Jackie Chan.
Yeah,
that's the only reason. Or they got some sort of tax credit or filming credit from China to film in China.
Yeah, my big thing too.
Only reason why you would
this time was as I was watching it, as I was like. Some of the societal stuff, like when they go and tour the Forbidden Temple, and their class is a Chinese school class, they come from a Chinese school, and yet the tour guide is giving the tour in English.
Yeah, right.
And I'm just like, I just don't believe that would be the case.
Too many
maybe
characters
the tour
in
guide,
that movie speak English.
Maybe the tour guide would give the tour in English if it was an all-white tour group,
Right.
right? Like if it was very clearly tourists, but they're wearing school uniforms from a Chinese school. She would just be giving the tour in
It's
Chinese.
just for the benefit that they have the one student. Yeah. In China, I don't think they teach English. I'm pretty sure they don't teach. Although someone's going to school me on Chinese, but I'm pretty sure they don't teach English.
I can't speak to that, but what I can say is that just a lot of the way that it comes across in this movie, it feels more. And yeah, someone's going to school me for this, but to me, as a foreigner who's never been to China and doesn't know much about what goes on there, and only is an outsider looking in at both cultures, it comes across more Japanese than it does Chinese.
Right.
Just in the fact that, like, yeah, Japan, I know, very much speaks a lot of English.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know that China does, but I don't believe they do.
That would involve instilling Western values, which they are not for.
They're not known for, no.
No. It's based on the limited bit I know on the communist Chinese government. I don't. It's too many English speaking characters in that movie.
Then there's also just the fact that it's very funny, the coincidence that he happens to go to the one school where there's a white person who he can make friends with, and
right?
and he can like be his mouthpiece for him,
right?
Like what are the odds of that?
Also, Jaden Smith, the fight sequences look good. I will say they're not. It's not as good as some of these movies. Like he's the least good Karate Kid, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, he's not bad.
Also, to be fair, he's not doing karate, so that's not fair.
He's doing kung fu.
Yeah, he's doing the kung fu all right. But yeah, he wins the big tournament.
I guess my thing is that, like, as opposed to
the big tournament,
as opposed to the Stifler movie, A Bulletproof Monk, I at least believe that Jaden Smith might be doing some of it.
Yeah.
Whereas, in some, like in that, for example, I just have a hard time believing that he was doing any of it.
Will Smith produced it, so he was standing behind Jaden Smith with a bamboo, being like, "You better make this believable, son." Represent that Smith name, son.
But yeah, apparently it was based on a story by Robert Mark Common.
All right. Is that it? Is that it for
that's it.
The Kung Fu Kid?
That is it for the Kung Fu Kid.
All right. So,
who doesn't come back?
He does not come back. No, spoiler alert for the new movie. He does not come back in the new movie. So my final rapid fire is a movie called Ninja Assassin. Ninja ga imasu. Hey, let's go. Something protect my balls. Anyway, this movie is really violent and really fun.
That movie.
It's really fun. Yeah, it's really fun if you're able to like turn your brain off and be like not think about the fact that none of it makes sense. Yeah, it is really really gnarly and violent when they like slice guys' heads off. But like my thing with it is, I don't think it's never made clear. The ninjas are all human, right? There's no supernatural element to this.
I think they're supposed to be human, yeah.
Yeah, but they do things that are like supernatural, like when they like disappear into the shadows and they just disappear, or they're like, yeah, we can't get them on the motion sensor. And it's like, but you would, or it's like just shoot them with a gun. Like it's just a little too like they it seems like they have supernatural powers, even though. From what I can tell, the movie doesn't establish them as having supernatural powers. So how the ninjas work, they're a little too omnipotent for me.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be implied that like they're using their ki.
Is
basically
that they do not?
Well,
doesn't seem like they're remotely established.
There's a point where like the guy is doing the breathing techniques and stuff, and he sticks his hand inside, and it just
that's where it's confusing. It doesn't look like he's like sticking his. Yeah, it's very, very confusing. But they seems that they want them to be normal humans. I don't know what's happening, and it's very confusing.
I have to be honest. I usually just don't think that deeply about it and just enjoy the violence of it all.
It is a very violent movie. Yeah, there's a scene where he fights the fat guy and he just stabs him a bunch. He just stabs him a bunch. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I enjoy that movie. It's very fun. The kung fu is good. Solid, well choreographed. If you like bloody, gnarly, nasty action movies, this is definitely one of those. That's it. That's my rapid fires.
Well, all right then. I suppose if you are ready, it's time for us to move.
On with the show.
So my first half scenes is TMNT.
TMNT Turtle Power. TMNT Turtle Power.
Which is the animated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, which is like a soft sequel to the original 3.
Yeah, that's the one thing that this movie failed at. Is it feels too much like a sequel to a movie we never saw, so it's too hard to get. Like, wait, why are the turtles all broken up? This feels like I missed something. One of them's a superhero, while the other one's a mascot. What is happening? Why is Leo traveled? Like, it's bizarre.
He's in South America for some reason.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Was there a show I missed?
Yeah. Then it's like it's very clearly at least tangentially linked to the original 3 movies, because the last scene, there's the shelf with all the relics that they have, and they've got like the lantern from the third one, they've got Shredder's helmet, they've got the canister from the ooze of the second movie. Like, they've got all these references to the original movies where it's like, okay, so I guess this is supposed to be linked somehow.
I guess.
But also, I never realized, or maybe I did realize before, but I realized that the wealthy guy, the king or whatever, he's Patrick Stewart.
Like what wealthy guy? Patrick Stewart.
The guy that April works for.
The bad guy. Yeah, he's Patrick Stewart. Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah.
Sorry, it took me a second. I knew that. And Casey Jones is Chris Evans. Yeah, there was a
April O'Neil is Sarah Michelle Gellar.
There was a period of time where what became the Michael Bay Turtle movies, they were going to make a live action one, and Chris Evans was going to be him in live action.
Well, there was a few sequels. Hold on, let's go down to that section so I can talk about them. In 2007, he had mentioned that he wanted to do a potential sequel. The second one, he had planned a trilogy. The second one would have loosely adapted the Turtles' 13-part comic book saga, City at War. Michelangelo would have felt rejected and joined the Foot Clan, while the Turtles would have traveled to Japan and would have crossed paths with Karai and Shredder. TMNT 3 would have featured the Triceratons as well as the Technodome's arrival from Dimension X.
Technodrome.
And Monroe. That's what I said.
You said Technodome.
No, I didn't. I said Technodrome. Anyways, Monroe wanted Michael Clark Duncan to voice the Triceratons leader, Commander Mozart, and these apparently never happened because Astro Boy did terrible.
Yes,
and it led to Imagi, the studio that made the movies, bankruptcy. And then in an interview, Laird stated that he was interested in the idea of having the next film be a live-action and CGI hybrid film, with the Turtles rendered in CGI, and Sarah Michelle Gellar and Chris Evans reprising their TMNT roles in live action.
Yes, I heard about that.
And evolved into the Michael Bay one.
That it did, and then Casey Jones was eventually played by Stephen Amell.
Yes, he was. I like this movie, all things considered.
I like it in spite of the fact that it's not very good.
Yeah, like the point where Leonardo is chasing Ralph when he's dressed as the vigilante.
Yeah, some of it's good.
And then, yes, I like the scene where they fight. No, I don't like the part where he knocks the helmet off and is like, "Oh my God, Wrath! What? The vigilante who was dressed in a turtle-shaped outfit and who had like 3 fingers and looked like us? The fact
Right?
that the person
I
who
can't
slept all
believe
day
it.
and was awake only at nighttime, that is shocking to me. That
Right?
part is the one part where I'm like, really? You're smarter than that, man.
Right? You went to like Brazil or whatever to like train. Surely you have better senses than that.
Right? Like, that's my one real thing with it is I'm like, no. But other than that, it's fun. Also, yeah, you're right. Again, it does feel like a sequel to a movie we never got because it's a sequel to 3 movies we got.
Yeah, but not
Like, that's my
connected enough
thing
to be a
is like
sequel.
they needed to like make it more obvious that that's what it was.
Yeah.
And then it would have I think probably been stronger. But overall, I like it. It's fine.
All right. My first have seen is a movie called it's called Beverly.
I will say, sorry, real quick. It clearly didn't do that bad because it had a budget of 34 million and it made 95.6 million.
That's why they were able to make Astro Boy, and then Astro Boy tanked. The same company made both those movies, which is unfair because Astro Boy I thought was okay. I
didn't mind Astro Boy. Yeah.
First have seen. It's a movie called Beverly Hills Ninja, starring Chris Farley, who is a white fella who is dropped at a ninja monastery, commune. I don't know what the collective group of ninja are, but he's taken in as a small child because there is a prophecy of the great white ninja, great big white ninja or great white ninja, and they believe that Chris Farley is that and that he will be this amazing ninja. And spoiler alert, Jordan, he's not. He's Chris Farley. He's terrible. He's like fat guy fall down. That's his whole shtick. And while the other ninjas are out doing a ninja mission, he is back at the ninja because he's bad and he's clumsy and he fucks up everything. So his ninja dad's like, stay back. And he runs into this woman who pays him to follow her, what seems to be her boyfriend. But then it turns out it's not actually, she doesn't actually like him. And she was trailing him because he maybe killed her sister. And then there's a bunch of shenanigans because it's a Chris Farley movie. And it was alright.
Shenanigans?
It was alright. The funniest bit is the ninja dad sends Chris Farley's ninja brother to follow him, who's this Asian guy who I think is the same actor who was Liu Kang in the Mortal Kombat movie. But he follows Chris Farley around, and every time Chris Farley does something, he does it for him. So like he drops in and he fights, like he drops a smoke bomb, and Chris Farley just kind of flails around thinking he's fighting off all these guys, and he fights them all for him. Just stuff like that. And it's really funny. He's constantly... Chris Farley doesn't accomplish a single thing the whole movie. Also, Chris Farley just... unbelievable physical comedian. He's fallen out of trees. Like, the stunts he, like, seemingly does are kind of impressive for his size. He's just such an earnest guy that even though the movie's not very good, it's hard not to like him. He's one of those guys. Real shame we lost him. He should be like in his career renaissance where he's doing A24 dramas. You know what I mean? Like, you know how like now we take Adam Sandler seriously as a dramatic actor?
Yes, some of us do.
That's where we, how he like got nominated for an Oscar for being an actor. That's where we should be with Chris Farley, where he did all of his shitty, like terrible 2000s movies, and then like he's in his second leg of his career where he's doing like black and white indie dramas. That's where Chris Farley should be.
I don't disagree.
I
don't disagree at all.
I mean, my favorite Chris Farley anything is always going to be Matt Foley.
Which one's that?
He's the one who lives in a van down by the river!
Yeah.
You gotta swing your arms like this! I live in a van down by the river!
It's a shame that the audience probably will not have heard any of that.
No, they always hear it. You don't hear it.
I didn't hear it.
You don't hear it.
I didn't hear any of that.
But the audience usually hears it. But yeah, it's all right. It's pretty funny. It's a fun movie. I don't think it's as bad as Black Sheep. I think that's his worst movie. But yeah, real shame. Real shame. Chris Farley died. Very sad. That's Beverly Hills Ninja.
Yeah, he died when he was 33, I believe is what it said.
I honestly don't know. Young.
When I looked him up, I believe that's what Google said.
Oh, did you not know who Chris Farley was?
I wanted to reconfirm that I did.
Yeah. He's real lost. He did a bunch of drugs. Don't do drugs, kids. Because then
Pugs, not drugs.
You die way too young.
Pugs, not drugs.
Pugs, not drugs.
Pugs, not pugs.
Pugs, not pugs.
Pugs and pugs.
Hugs and pugs?
Pugs and pugs and bugs and no drugs. No drugs, never drugs.
Never drugs. That's enough.
So my second half. You're done, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Party of Broadway World podcast says, I just got back from seeing Lilo and Stitch. It was just okay. It's just there. Jake is completely right in what he said to me.
I mean, yeah, Jake did say that. He said it exists. That was his review of that movie. It exists. Like that is a stunning endorsement, stellar endorsement.
So my second half scene, and this is where we really stretch the limits of what is a kung fu movie, is The Matrix.
Hey, he does kung fu.
He knows kung fu.
He does. He doesn't just know kung fu. He does kung fu. It counts.
He does a whole fight with Fishburne.
Fun fact about The Matrix. I always love telling this story. My aunt claims that she worked with Carrie Ann Moss, who plays Trinity, and that Trinity, Carrie Ann Moss, only got the role because, quote, she knew a little bit of karate. And so my aunt randomly...
To be fair, she was born, according to her work.
She's from Burnaby.
She's from Burnaby.
She's from
it's
Burnaby.
Entirely possible that they did know each other.
And she said, yeah. And the reason why I kind of believe this, yeah. Number one is Carrie Ann Moss is from Burnaby, and the store that they worked with was in a mall that's in Burnaby called Metrotown, and they worked at a store she worked at a store in Metrotown called Reitman's. I could not confirm whether or not she worked at Reitman's, but my aunt also took up karate randomly for summer, right around the time that The Matrix came out. Just randomly, for like a few months. Just randomly. So...
I could believe it.
It's a story I could believe.
In an alternate universe, there's a different Trinity.
There's a different Trinity. Yeah, it's my aunt.
But yeah, The Matrix. So, I mean, we've all seen The Matrix.
Yeah.
We all know what The Matrix is.
We all agree we're the guy who betrays them and goes back into the Matrix, right?
I mean, I don't even think I make it that far. I exist in a world where the movie The Matrix exists, and if someone offers me a red pill and to go down the rabbit hole or a blue pill, I'm taking the blue pill because I don't want to wake up from the Matrix. I'm pretty comfortable in my life.
No, because the thing is, I feel like everyone would take the red pill only because he makes it sound really appealing. Because you notice he doesn't mention any of the shitty parts, like, having your head shaved and living in a shitty post-dystopian world where you eat slop.
But Justin, we live in the world of The Matrix 5. Where the Matrix is a movie or a game or a thing that already is in the public consciousness. So there's a degree of we already know that there's a potential for it to be bad. I don't want to be taken out of the Matrix at all.
No, I'm gonna be the guy who betrays them and eats the steak because that's the thing.
Again, but again, no, that implies that you left the Matrix at all. I'm saying we live in a world where we know something about it.
I'm talking about.
I'm never leaving the Matrix.
I'm talking about the perspective from I'm in the 1998 Matrix. I'm not into.
Oh yeah, no. Then I'm the one who betrays them.
I'm the one who betrays them to get put back in. Because I'm sorry, Morpheus. You didn't mention the slop and the miserable living conditions I'd be subjected to. You kind of left that bit out.
Yeah, no.
Way to bury the lead, man.
You put me back in the Matrix as a millionaire,
Right?
and I'll help you destroy the rest of humanity.
I'm chill. I want to be rich. What's the difference? My brain is telling me that this tastes delicious. I'm cool with that. I'm sure there's probably people who are going to scream at me in the comments, being like, "No, you want the red pill?" No, not really.
No, not really. I mean, their world sounds awful.
It looks like it sucks, just like a lot. Rather,
like, do I want to be in 1990s normal America, or do I want to be in a dystopian nightmare where robots are trying to murder me?
Where I get to occasionally go into a computer program where I wear black leather and sunglasses and do a bit of kung fu.
And no kung fu. The one thing that the Matrix universe has that makes
doesn't seem worth it.
Being able to plug information into my brain and learn anything at the drop of a hat does sound useful, but the machines can do that for me when I'm plugged in.
Right? Absolutely. Yeah. No, I'm cool. Battery me away, baby. I'm good. Thank you.
I'm good. No, their world is awful.
Right.
And that being said,
constantly on the run and on edge, wondering if the machines are going to kill me anyway. Much rather they slow kill me, and I don't live in the. I don't. Again, did you see the sludge they were eating? It's slop.
Now
it looks unappetizing.
I have always believed the theory that they never escaped the Matrix. They're all still in the Matrix, Justin. The Matrix just has a higher level for the people that want to escape the Matrix, and it puts them there so that they stop trying to escape because they think they've already escaped.
The fourth movie, that's what the fourth movie is about. He's in like the fifth or sixth version of the Matrix that they put him back into, and they keep bringing him back in and resetting it.
No. I mean like Morpheus in this movie is still like Trinity in this movie. They're all still in the Matrix, but when they escape the Matrix, they just think they've escaped the Matrix.
I see what you're saying.
And they're still in a version of the Matrix.
Probably.
It's just like a layer up, so that they think
believable.
that they've escaped. And that's how Mr. Smith is able to leave, is because he doesn't really leave. He's now just in her, and I think they even point out in this movie. I think the betrayer even is like, or in the second one or whatever, the one of the guys I think even says something to that effect, where he's like, "How do we even know that we really did leave the Matrix? Because how do they know? The Matrix is a sophisticated enough computer where it can completely convince your brain that you are living a real life. So for it to have a second layer where it's convinced you where you've left it, but you're still connected to it, is entirely believable to me.
Inception.
That's my headcanon.
Jordan, do you have anything else to say about Hot Topic? I mean, The Matrix.
I do not.
All right. So
other than they really probably should have just left it with The Matrix, because I just remember the second and third one being really bad.
They had one of The Matrix,
except for in I think it's the third one where you have the battle with all the Mr. Smiths, and it's Neo versus like hundreds of Mr. Smiths. That fight scene's dope.
That fight scene is pretty rad. So for reasons that we have no doubt established, obviously, if we talk about Karate Kid, I had to watch the original Karate Kid. And yeah, when I was watching it, it became apparent, I think I've only seen this movie once, because there's a lot of moments in this that were pretty identical to the Jaden Smith one, that I was like, huh, interesting. And yeah, everyone did the whole like, oh, Daniel LaRusso's the real bad guy thing, but, I mean, he didn't actually steal Johnny's girl. They've been broken up for weeks. He didn't know that they had a prior established relationship. Like Johnny, I think it's Johnny punched him first. And the rules in the karate tournament are anything above the waist is totally illegal. So that crane kick was not an illegal kick.
Okay, I'm gonna go with you on that because it's been so long since I've seen the first one.
Pat Morita is he's so good. Like I don't think this movie works if you don't have a strong, like, co-lead with the kid. In this case, it's obviously Pat Morita as Mr. Miyagi. In yours, it's Jackie Chan. In the new one, it's not Jackie Chan. Spoiler alert.
Well, it is for half the movie.
Yeah, I guess that is fair. But yeah, it's the mechanics of teaching karate. It's fun. The wax on, wax off. How it translates into actual action.
Jack it on. Jack it off.
Yeah, karate is for defense only. It introduces obviously all the characters. Johnny, it's Danny LaRusso, Johnny. Last name's escaping me, and then John Kreese, all introduced in this movie. And then
Johnny a body.
They made two more. I didn't watch them. I've never seen the second and third one. So then that they're gonna come back later in a way. But yeah, classic movie, absolutely classic, 1980s classic, the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down.
He's the best around. Nothing's ever gonna keep you down.
Yeah, solid, loving Karate Kid. That's Karate Kid. Bonsai.
Karate Kid.
Bonsai.
Where they actually did karate.
Karate. They very much did karate.
So, I guess we're on to have not scenes.
Yes. Yes, we are.
Before I talk a little bit about it, have you seen the movie Shaolin?
No. I was gonna watch Shaolin Soccer, but I imagine it's not the same thing.
No, this one, boring.
Boring
is the word I would use to describe it.
Dull.
And I think that has everything to do with the fact that there's a lot of talking, and it's in
Johnny Lawrence. Sorry. Go on. That was the name of the character I was trying to think of the name of.
Got it. There's a lot of talking, and it's in Mandarin and Cantonese. When a movie is already a little bit boring, it makes it very hard to follow for me.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Which I'm gonna probably catch a lot of shit for that, because this was apparently a very well received movie. It was a commercial success. And apparently, I'm just now learning, this version is a remake of the 1982 Shaolin Temple starring Jet Li.
Oh, Jet Li was not represented this time.
This movie had Jackie Chan in it, which was part of why I chose it. But, so, okay. Cold Note's version of the plot, as I remember it, which... so there's these two warlords, or one warlord, and they both have like a brotherhood bond with the other one, and then the one betrays the other, and kills his daughter, and his wife leaves him, and he ends up at Shaolin Temple to hide, and then he ends up training there and becoming a monk, and then time passes, and then he ends up meeting his wife again, and his wife is all like, "I like the new you more," and then the warlord, the other warlord that originally betrayed him, finds out that he's still alive and comes to attack the temple, and there's this whole sad thing where all the monks and the kid monks and stuff are all like, the temple is destroyed, we've lost everything, and former warlord, who is now Shaolin monk, is like, we have not lost everything as long as we are together. Also, Jackie Chan is there.
All right, so Jackie Chan is not the main character?
He doesn't appear to be, no. He's the cook. It's very, like I said, very long, very dry, in my opinion. And,
Can I clarify that? In my opinion?
I found it hard to follow. The Hao Ji, the warlord, who seems to be the main character, is played by Andy Lau. Jackie Chan is Wu Dao, who is a Shaolin cook monk. Right. So, no, he's not. I wouldn't call him I wouldn't call him the main character. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It was okay. It kind of just as I was watching this one, and finding myself a little bit burnt out by watching movies about uh, Chinese and or Japanese monks who are going up against warlords and or bad people who want to come and destroy the temple and or place that they're living.
John, that's why you got to throw. That's why you got to throw a bomb in there every once in a while, and you got to get a Chris Farley in there.
Oh, I did throw a bomb in there. That's why I got Stifler.
Oh, that's a fair point. I forgot about Stifler. That is a bomb. That is an absolute bomb in there.
And you know, like that's why I threw in some of the weird.
No, I mean that literally. Both of those movies bombed horribly.
Oh, I see. But yeah, I feel like this is going to appeal to a certain segment of people.
Yeah, if you like dry Chinese dramas, which is what this sounds like.
It's described as a martial arts wuxia, WUXIA film.
Is the action at least good?
The fighting was fine and it looked good and it was like that wasn't bad, but when that's all there is, like a good movie does not make.
Yeah, I know, fair enough. It's wildly unbalanced.
In my opinion, but again,
what is this called again?
Shaolin.
Shaolin, right? Is that it for Shaolin?
That is it for Shaolin from me. Maybe in the future, next time we do Kung Fu, you can try and watch it, and you can tell me how it was actually really good, and I got it horribly wrong.
It's a really good drama. It's really good drama. I couldn't think of a more clever line. Anyway, my first, I figure we'll end with Cobra Kai, I think. But my first have seen, because I don't have a ton to say about. I do and I don't. My first have not seen is I promised I would watch this movie. It's the sequel to The Raid Redemption. It is The Raid 2, and just like the previous movie, this movie is violent as fuck. There are before I get into what it's about, I do have to shout out my 3 favorite characters. A character I call the Batman. Another character I call Hammer Girl, and Claw Guy, because they are violent. So this one, instead of it being kind of... The last one was kind of like Dread, where it was like a group of policemen trying to invade, or try to... Not invade, but infiltrate a apartment building. This one is now... It takes place almost immediately after, and the cops convince the main guy from the last one to go undercover and get close to this crime boss and go work for him. I'm maybe missed this bit, but to get the corrupt cops, because they're not trying to take down the crime boss, they're trying to get the corrupt cops. That's who they care about more. And you don't care about the story. It's not really about the story. Once again, it's about the excessively violent action sequences, and this one is even more violent than the last one. I know that these movies are meant to be commentary on like the Indonesian government or whatever, but I just don't believe that even the most corrupt cops can get away with letting like a parade of just bodies just pile up. You know what I mean? Like there's a point where there's a character, I affectionately call him the Batman, and that's because, Jordan, you'll never guess what he does.
Beats people up with a bat?
He absolutely beats people up with a bat. He beats the crap out of them with that bat. And they are some fucking phenomenal action sequences. Holy shit. They're so good. They're well choreographed. They're well shot. Everything's stable. They're brutal. When he cracks people with that baseball bat, it is unpleasant sounding. There's another girl who I call her Hammer Girl. And she hits people with hammers. She's got 2 hammers, and she like bashes them in the face with the one hammer, and then like stabs them in the face with the back half of the hammer. And she's just like tearing people's faces apart, and it is brutal. But at one point, there's a bunch of just corpses, and I'm like, I feel like even the shittiest, dirtiest cop can't get away with letting bodies just pile up.
And yet, they did.
But like, yeah, if you like a well-constructed And to be fair, I watched the dub. Now, this dub was actually okay. Like, they did a decent job of matching the energy. The lip flaps match up okay, but there's a weird scene where it looks like the guy is speaking English. Like, his lip flaps are moving directly, so I don't know if he's still being dubbed over or what that is in Indonesian. I don't know what language they speak in Indonesia. But in the original language version, if he's speaking in English there, but it looked like his lip flaps were matching up. It was very weird. But yeah, it's kind of like Ninja Assassin, where it's like, if you like just a nasty, bloody, like, violent action movie, which I know you do, then absolutely.
Oh yeah.
This is totally your bag. Like, it is a gnarly movie, and it's really well made. It is definitely, I definitely get when people are like, that bat sequence is one of the greatest action sequences ever choreographed, and I do not disagree. There's a bit where the guy shows up, I think he's got a machete or something, and he's just fighting them all off with one hand, and it's well made, and it's kind of the point where I've been watching so much Cobra Kai, and like, karate is for defense, and it's like, not all of these martial arts are for defense. This is very much to hurt people. The guy, like, I just enjoyed at a certain point, this guy had no moral qualms about loss of life. He was just like, I will kill everybody and anyone in my way. I don't care. It's rad. Super rad. That's the
Is that all you have to say about that one?
I do. It is.
Okay. So, it's time for my final have not seen, which I saved the best for last.
I did as well.
As I'm known to do. I watched Ip Man 2, which, if you saw our last Kung Fu
is it better than the first one?
I would say it's on par with the first one.
Oh, that's high praise. Now, many sequels don't make it up in the second one, you know?
It feels... Okay. It feels like more, and this is either going to be praise or discouragement, depending on who you are, but it really, truly does just feel like a continuation of the first one.
Yeah.
So, like, had this come out... When did this come out? This came out in 2010. Had the Ip Man Chronicle... Like, it had the story of Ip Man been told in 2025... it probably would have been like a Netflix series where like it was split amongst a bunch of different episodes.
Yeah.
This just feels like the next episode, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Picked up right where the last one left off.
Not quite right where it left off, but close enough.
More or less.
So as an aside, and this is gonna...
More or less less.
Yes. This is going to maybe seem like a random thing. How much do you know about Hong Kong?
I know it was at one point a British colony.
Okay, because I was going to say I didn't. So, and that leads to an interesting point in the latter half of this movie, because basically the first half of this movie is Yip and his wife and their child have recently moved to Hong Kong after the events of the last one, where there's the whole, Japanese occupation of China and him almost dying. And so in this one, they're in Hong Kong, and he's trying to set up a new dojo so that he can, be paid to do the thing that he does so well.
A Mojo dojo?
Yes.
I'm proud of that one.
Yes. You shouldn't be.
I am. I'm proud of that one. I had that in the chamber.
And so then he discovers that in order to be a master, be recognized as a master in the city of Hong Kong, he has to first go through the challenge of
beating a guy up.
Basically.
Beating multiple guys up.
Basically, he has to. They have a stick of incense, and he has to stay on top of. They set up like a table, which is supposed to be like the ring or whatever. And there's a table, and there's a bunch of chairs, and then there's other tables, and you basically have to stay up on top of it for as long as the incense burns or the other masters of the city wish to continue to fight. And so he has to fight a bunch of the masters and stuff, and ultimately they recognize him as a grandmaster as well, and then he is allowed to train, and they want him to pay like $100 or 100 yen or whatever it is, £100, I guess, because it was a British colony, a month to be able to keep his gym open, and he's like, I won't do that, basically. And so he has a rivalry with the other gyms at first, and then slowly over the course of the movie he becomes friends with most of them, and then the second half of the movie
he beats someone up.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay.
The second half of this movie, and this is where I say, you either like that that it follows kind of a similar thing to the first one, or you don't, because in the first one, the second half of the movie is
he beats someone up.
Shut up. Stop interrupting. The second half of the first one is that the Chinese fighters are being challenged by the Japanese fighters, and ultimately Ip Man has to go and challenge the Japanese general, to refresh your mind of the first one.
I do
so
recall.
In this one, the big thing in this one is that there's a British boxing champion, Taylor the Twister Miller, who I'm guessing is based on a real person, and he has been challenging the Eastern fighters, the Hong Kong fighters, and he ends up challenging one of Ip Man's friends and killing him, because when he fights, apparently he just can't help that killing instinct.
He's just too strong.
Apparently,
he's got too much power.
And so then
too much power. He can't handle all the power.
So then he goes on the news and is basically like, yeah, the other guy was so weak and I'm just so powerful.
My dicka the subigo.
That like he was so weak. It wasn't my fault that he died. But if any Chinese fighter wants to come and challenge me, then I will, and yada yada yada. And so Ip Man starts training to fight him, and the final scene is yet again Ip Man going up against the big strong fighter guy that nobody else can fight, but he is the one who ultimately comes victorious again. And it's like, in a lot of ways I can see the similarities between the first one and the second one, but it works for me because the choreography and the fighting is just so sick.
I mean, nothing looks better than just absurdly and upsettingly brutal combat.
And my one thing with this movie,
never not going to be fun,
where it's like it kind of not pulls me out of it, but I was as I was watching it, and I was like, even watching the older gentleman fight the boxer, I'm like, they haven't, in terms of this movie at this point, set any rules that stop the kung fu person from being able to like kick or like do any kung fu-esque things that would make boxers kind of irrelevant, like going low,
yeah,
or going for ground combat,
prevent it from becoming UFC
like 1. Yeah, and so later when Ip Man is fighting him, he keeps kicking him, kind of proving my point, and he's knocked the boxer down at least once, like, and the count is started and stuff, and so the boxer gets up and says something to the referee, and the referee at that point is like, no more kicks. And like, the movie wants to play it like the boxer is being the unreasonable one because he's been a villain and he's killed someone and he's a general asshole. Like, he's not a good person.
Ref, this feels unfair.
In terms of a fair fight, no.
Why
like, would the boxer go up?
You can kick him too if you want. I don't want to, though. It's kind of the point.
Like, it's just, yeah, and so it's like, on the one hand, like, yeah, at least they address it, but on the other hand, it's like, well, it's not really a true test of skill, because it can't be. Because, yeah, Ip Man is essentially having his hands tied behind his back.
The reason why
he can't
boxers
fight
and MMA fighters don't fight.
Yeah, and so it makes for a good movie, right? But, like, in terms of, like, thinking of this as an actual fight, it pulls me a little bit out of it. But one of the things that I did, it was a little jarring because I, for whatever reason, just didn't see it coming, and I didn't realize at first that it was supposed to be that the British was occupying the city. But there's obviously there's British people in this, and they just speak English. And so it's like you'll have scenes where the Chinese are speaking in Chinese and the British guys are speaking in English, and there's literally in the movie a translator there who's translating between the two of them, and I'm like, that's cool.
That
Like,
is pretty
I like
cool.
that. I like that as a movie making technique where
It's
it's
a nice
like
touch.
you're not afraid to have them speak in their own language. It's a nice touch.
It's a nice touch.
I really and so then I was reading a little bit of behind the scenes stuff here, and apparently originally Ip Man 2 was going to focus more on Bruce Lee and Ip Man, like training and like Bruce Lee was going to be more in the movie, but they couldn't get get the film rights to him basically from his family.
Oh, yeah, I know they're
For-
notoriously very protective of his image.
Which is why he only appears, spoiler alert, why he only appears very, like, at the very end as a kid.
As in a Marvel post-credit scene.
Is how they, that's how they got around from that.
Bruce
So,
Lee walks out, like, have you heard of the Bruce Lee Initiative?
So I will definitely be returning to this series. I want to see the third one because, yeah, at the end credits they have the little, the text information thing where they tell you about stuff, and like they talk about Bruce Lee and how he comes back at 16 to train with Ip Man and how he's integrated a lot of Ip Man's style into his own, and like give you all this little background stuff. So I'm like, for the third one, like they've shown Bruce Lee here, right? Like they've got to like have him in there somehow, right? Like
Right.
It's got to be where the third one leads, because from what I understand, there's like 5 of these things.
Yeah. All equally.
So-
I mean, to be fair, they get progressively more straight to DVD as they go on, to my knowledge.
So I figure
5
he's
more
gotta be in
episodes.
he's got to be in one of these.
Yeah. Jordan, is that it for?
But yeah, that's Ip Man 2. So budget, it had a budget of US a lot, 12 million, 12 billion. I think that's billion. 12 billion. And it made 49 whatever, a lot. It made a lot of money is the point.
Very successful. Very successful. So my final move thing, it's not a movie, I watched Netflix's / YouTube Reds Cobra Kai, and Jordan, the show's really good. Like it's as good as nothing. Hype always makes me go, there's no way this is as good as people say it is, and it really truly is as good as people say it is. The most remarkable bit for me is that it started off as a YouTube Red show, because that first season it's really quite good. So for the 5 of you who don't know what Cobra Kai is, it's a sequel show to The Karate Kid, which takes place 25 years or something later. Johnny Lawrence he's an adult now. He's still bitter and angry about how Daniel LaRusso kicked him in his face, and he decides to open up Cobra Kai, and the show is about the consequences of that, and him and Daniel LaRusso reestablishing like a relationship, and it's one of the most narratively satisfying shows I have ever watched, because it's one of those, like, you obviously know the kid's gonna do the kick or the kid's gonna punch the thing, but when they finally do punch the thing, it's really satisfying, just like emotionally, and it does this really phenomenal job of it's sort of exploring that not every person is the same person they were 25 years ago. Time and memory and perspective change things, and not everyone is all inherently good, and not everyone is all inherently evil. So I enjoy the fact that Johnny, as the show progresses, he evolves as a character, and he realizes that Cobra Kai very basically makes people assholes. So all of the people who join Cobra Kai and follow the strike first, strike hard, strike no mercy attitude, they all become massive assholes. And the show is kind of about each of these characters realizing that and all of them becoming bullies. But it also makes the point that Miyagi-Do, which is the Mr. Miyagi karate, it's not all good either, in that it's all defense. So you have to wait for someone to attack you. You can't be proactive. So Cobra Kai, or at least Johnny Lawrence's version of it, there's not inherent bad things. And so initially the show is very much, it's Cobra Kai versus the Miyagis. The Johnny Lawrence has an estranged son, because of course he's a deadbeat dad. He's a bad guy from an 80s movie. It just makes sense. And the main thing is he becomes friends with a kid called Miguel, and he's the kid that kind of inspires the creating Cobra Kai as a means to train him to prevent him from being bullied. And Miguel is kind of very similar to he's very similar to Daniel LaRusso in the original movie. So the show kind of in its early seasons becomes Johnny Lawrence is training Daniel LaRusso, and Daniel LaRusso is training Johnny Lawrence, and they're becoming close. And it does a really phenomenal job of taking over the course of the series. They bring back multiple characters from the movies. So they eventually at a point they bring back the bad guy from the second movie. Oh, just real quick aside. A thing I learned this week is Okinawa. I always thought Okinawa was part of Japan. And it kind of is. There's a term for it. I'm just going to Google it, what it is. But it's not...
A border town?
No, it's not quite a country. But it's like, it's Japan, but it's not Japan. Like, it's its own distinct territory.
So kind of like how... Hong Kong? Not Hong Kong. The one that China always wants.
Yeah, Taiwan, I think?
Taiwan is it like is both is and isn't, like, and they would get very upset if anybody said that they're part of China, but weren't they like at one point part of China, but they're technically not China?
I think so. Well, it's called a...
Don't come at me in the comics. I'm uneducated.
I tried to Google what this is, and it says it's different depending on the country. But it says Okinawa is a Japanese prefecture comprising of more than 150 islands in the East China Sea between Taiwan and Japan's mainland. So it's like it's its own territory. So it's part of Japan, but it's not Japan. So it's kind of a country, but not really a country. That's why in that first Karate Kid movie, Mr. Miyagi is like, it's Japan, and then Okinawa is here. So it's yeah. I didn't know that. That was the thing I learned. So eventually in a later season, he goes to Okinawa to or Johnny LaRusso or Daniel LaRusso goes to Okinawa to visit, and that's basically the episode where like, oh, here's all the shit from the second movie, because that's what the second movie is about. Is he goes to Okinawa and visits and meets all of...
I don't think I've ever seen the second.
No, neither have I. That became apparent as I watched this show. But he runs into the bad guy from the second movie, who is also a student of Miyagi-Do, and he's the entire episode he's acting like he's mean and a jerk, and he takes Daniel LaRusso into the woods, and he teaches him this alternate version of Miyagi-Do, which is basically like a proactive, aggressive version, which allows him to like tap pressure points and disable his opponents. And he hits him with all these moves, and he's about to like karate chop him in the face, and then he honks his nose. And he's like, I got you. You believe me so much. I had you right in the palm of my hand. And they end up becoming friends. And the guy reveals that, like, yeah, after Daniel LaRusso beat him in this match or whatever, he went on to have great shame and rediscover himself, and now he's a good guy, and they've become friends. And that's what's kind of cool about this show. It's each of these, the relationships evolve, and as much as like Daniel is like, you see two perspectives. So whenever you see it from Daniel's perspective, he's just a nice guy who he's a car salesman, which I didn't get at first, but then I realized that's because Mr. Miyagi gives him the car in the movie.
Wax on, wax off.
Right. And so he tends to assume the worst in people. So there's a bit later on where he goes.
Is this car wash called Wax On, Wax Off Car Emporium? Because if not, that's a missed opportunity.
But his whole bit is he chops the competition. But yeah, so when he goes and he visits one of the guys he fought and one of the bad guys from the previous movie, he goes to attack him, and the guy's like, what's going on? He's like, yeah, man, I felt so bad for that, and I went off and I had to re-examine my life. And yeah, even John Kreese, like early on, he's the bad guy from the Karate Kid movies, and they do a good job of bringing him back and making him suitably evil and intimidating. And he's training the kids to be assholes, to do the true Cobra Kai way, no mercy. And they eventually give him like a tragic backstory or whatever. And like, yeah, later on in the season, they're giving him stuff where he's getting nice, tight, emotional stuff. And like I say, it is easily like, yeah, it really plays into your emotions. There's a number of times where I was like, oh my god, this is like getting me, because like these two characters have been at each other's throats for like 10 episodes, and now they're like hugging it out, and you're like, oh my god, like this earns it narratively. Like, again, most narratively satisfying show I've ever watched, where it's like, yeah, you know this is gonna happen, you know these two characters are gonna become friends, but like when it happens, you're like, oh, this is getting me a little bit. Like, I'm getting a little misty here. And it does again really good job of taking these characters, bring back the actors who played these characters. Eventually in the later seasons, they bring back the bad guy from Karate Kid 3, and he's now the main bad guy of the season. And like, yeah, he is sufficiently, he's a different kind of bad guy, whereas Kreese is more aggressive and angry and in your face. Silver is a bit more conniving and a bit smart. He tricks Daniel's wife into getting mad at him. Yeah, and it's just a really well acted, well performed William Zabka. Like, for a guy who played like a one-off character villain from a 1980s like karate movie, is like giving it his all. It's well choreographed. Most of the fights look good. The only fight that doesn't look good, any of the stuff involving Kreese kind of made me go, where I'm like I didn't think Kreese really needed a tragic backstory, but it ends up paying off. Like, that's the thing, is like it ends up paying off in like a beautifully, I don't know the actor who plays Kreese, but there's a beautifully acted scene. There's a really cool scene later on where he's hallucinating all of the people who have affected him in his life, and it's really well performed. Again, the stuff with Silver is really well done. Chosen is like so good. It's like, yeah, these were like just one-off, like, you know, they're bad guys from like some 80s movie, and here they are getting full, satisfying character arcs. Johnny, as he goes on, he eventually develops a relationship with the kid he's mentoring's mother, and he kind of really, like, he starts to embrace.
He develops a connection with her.
No, yeah, they wind up together, like they're full bore couple. She at the point I'm at, because I didn't get to finish the whole series. I'm still in season 6, but in season 6 they haven't gotten married, but she's having his kid, and he's reconciled.
Yeah, she is.
He's reconciled with the son, and he's rebuilt his life. And him and, like I say, the third season, it kind of they get taken down. Kreese steals the dojo from Johnny, and it seems like everything is down, and you know it's building towards Johnny Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso are going to finally team up. And when they do team up, it's so fucking satisfying. You're like, oh my god, this is like 25 years in the making. Like, when they finally shake it out and admit that they're friends. And there's a point later on where he shows up and Daniel says something, and he starts to get all offended and act like regular Johnny Lawrence, and Daniel LaRusso starts to get like defensive. He's like, "Nah, I'm just fucking with you." Basically, like, I'm just screwing with you. And they have a really that's kind of how you saw basically what they're like at the end of the new Karate Kid movie. That's what they're like by the end of the show. Like, they have a really
whoa spoilers.
They have a really fun relationship. That's really fun and really fun. All of them do, and yeah, it's about like discovering that people can change and people can grow and people can evolve, and you're not your worst moment in your life. You are more than the worst moment in your life, and it's really effective. It's funny because I was telling you about there's a character I can't fucking stand, and that's Stingray. Stingray, for most of it, is just, he's awful. He's an adult character. Basically, he's a character that Johnny meets early on. He works at like a Rona, and he shows up at the dojo looking to be trained, and Johnny's like, I only train.
Yeah, he's Dwight Schrute from The Office, who goes to the dojo and trains under the adult with all the rest of the children, and is a weirdo.
Yeah, so he could beat up kids. Yeah, it's super fucking weird. And like, he hangs out with them for most of, I think it's season 1 and 2. And he's just around, and it's super creepy because he's an adult. He's a grown adult. It's really weird. There's a moment later on, and none of the kids seem to find it weird, which makes it more weird. But there's a bit, I can't remember what season it's in, where he shows up.
No, Justin. Kids are stupid. It's not weird that kids wouldn't find it weird. It's weird that the adults around the kids don't find it weird.
I mean, Johnny's just taking his money. But, there's a point where he shows up and he's now changed. He's developed, because the whole bit is when these people join Karate Kid. The whole mantra is don't be a pussy. And so all of the kids develop these aggro personalities. Like the one guy who his name is Eli Moskowitz, and he's like this real nerd.
Elon. Oh, Eli.
Eli Moskowitz.
I thought you said Eli Muskovich, so I was like Elon Musk. He
like gets a mohawk and a back tattoo, and he develops this persona called Hawk, and he just becomes this psychopath who at one point he breaks one of his friend's arms, and one of the other characters' name is Dimitri, and he's just this, like, he complains about everything. Like, he tries to go to Cobra Kai and he just doesn't blend in because he's like, he just complains about everything, and everything is difficult. And so eventually he gets beaten up by Hawk, and he goes to Miyagi-Do, and he's not succeeding. Like, Daniel tries to impart, the funniest bit is when he's teaching what's his face, Johnny's son, how to do Miyagi-Do, and he's doing the whole wax on wax off paint in the fence shit. But he's working at the at Daniel LaRusso's auto dealership, so he's gotten him doing different variations on it, but it's basically still the same, him doing chores. And it gets to the point where Robbie, he's like, this is stupid, I'm tired of doing your chores, after he's waxed all the cars. And then he does the whole, show me jacket on, jacket off, or in this case, show me, sweep the floor, show me. And then and so there's a part later on.
Who exists? Karate exists in everything you do.
And so there's a bit later on where they're combining dojos, and they're doing wax on, wax off on Johnny's minivan, and Johnny's got his side of the dojo in the back seat, just cleaning his car, not even really doing anything productive, just cleaning the back seat of his disgusting car. He's like, and if you find any change, you can give that over to me. But yeah, Dimitri, he sucks. He's annoying. He's obnoxious. He complains about everything, and I hated him for the longest time. So when he finally wheels around and kicks Hawk, blocks his attacks, and wheels around and kicks him into a case, it's really satisfying, because you're like, oh my god, Dimitri, yes! Like, you've worked at this for so long. Like, oh my god, this is so satisfying that he's finally able to do this. And it's just, every time they finally get to a moment where it's like, something satisfying happens, it's really extra satisfying because they've really been working at it. It's really cool. Trying to think, was there anything else? Oh, Stingray. So Stingray, he at one point in the early seasons, he shows up at their party, and is like, he's with a girl. He's got a girl on. He eventually develops his Cobra Kai persona, which is Stingray, and he shows up at the kids' party with a girl on his arm, and the girl's like, I thought you said we were gonna go party with your friends. And he's like, these are my friends, and they're all kids, and it's weird. And he's drinking with them, and then at a point, obviously it's a teenage party in an 80s style show. The cops show up, and he gets stuck. It's like, dude, you need to, like, get the fuck out of here. Like, if they get busted, it's bad. If you get busted, it's a felony. Like, you're partying with minors. You're providing alcohol. Like, it doesn't matter if you're not the one who provided alcohol to minors. If you're there and there's alcohol and minors, you'll get charged with providing alcohol to minors. That is a felony. You need to get out of here. What are you doing? And run. Every one of these seasons always inevitably the final episode devolves to a big fight amongst all the characters, and the fights always look good. Like, they're always well choreographed. But towards the end of, I think it's season 2. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's season 2. Stingray gets a job at the school as a security guard, and so this big fight breaks out amongst Cobra Kai and the Miyagi-Do, and he jumps in and starts beating up the students. And so then the season ends with him getting arrested, and they make sure to mention the fact that he gets arrested, and then he's gone for a season. And I'm like, oh, thank God, Stingray's the fucking worst. And then a season goes by, and he comes back, and he's now gotten out of jail, and he's living with his sister, and his neighbor calls him a fucking loser because he is a loser. He's like, dude, you're a loser who hangs out with kids, who got arrested for beating up kids, and lives on your sister's couch. And he goes back to Cobra Kai, now run by John Kreese and Silver, the bad guy, the main evil sensei from the first movie and the bad guy from the third movie. They're now running Cobra Kai. And John Kreese is like, what are you doing here? Like, we teach kids, get out of here, basically. You have no place. You're pathetic and a loser, and you never belonged here. Get out of here. And he winds up at one of their parties again, hanging out with them, and all the kids are like in cheering for him because he beats up somebody. Oh, he beats up the neighbor who's been calling him a loser, and all the kids love him. And so he goes back to Cobra Kai and is like, you should let me back into Cobra Kai because all the kids love me. And then Silver beats the shit out of him, nearly kills him, and then convinces him to say it was John Kreese. So the big twist is John Kreese goes to jail. And I'm like, he comes back, and they try to go to him to get him to say that he lied. And that's when I came out to you, and I was like, I fucking hate him, and I told you about how I hated him. And then I went back, and I watched 3 more episodes, and then at the end of that 3rd episode, he has this really long emotional monologue that is beautifully performed, and well acted, and well done, where he's telling the story of what happened, basically, through, like, he's got a D&D campaign that he's built. That's the true story of what happened. So he tells what happens through the campaign, and he goes on to say how, like, he was afraid of, being killed or whatever, and how he wanted to be brave like the rest of them. And it's well performed and well written, and I was like, God damn it, Straight Stingray! How dare you make me like you? How dare you? How, quite frankly, dare you? And then, yeah, he shows up later on, and he's like, okay, he's actually kind of cool, and he has a really cool monologue where he talks about how he goes to sense the Johnny Lawrence, and he's like, you made me think I mattered. Like, I know what I was doing was ridiculous, but that didn't matter. You made me confident. You made me feel like I was a decent person for, like, a little bit. And, yeah, it's really nice. And I would like to come back to this before we jump into our Karate Kid review. Yeah, again, just to summate, it is a very satisfying show, and I was constantly impressed and constantly blown away by how much depth and care and heart, and how, like, it expanded these characters and, like, resolved them in ways that were interesting. Like, almost every major character aside from Pat Morita, and if Pat Morita were alive, I have no doubt he would have done this show, come back and wind up with a meaningful story arc, while also managing to balance the storyline with the kids, who I haven't even mentioned all of the kids. Like, you've got Daniel LaRusso's kids, who are both have their own storylines, who are all interesting in their own right. Like, they are all great characters, and it balances them as well as balancing the adult characters, again, in a way that is very well done. And I would like to come back to this because I'd like to finish it. So we are going to do Kung Fu Part 3, and Jordan's going to watch Cobra Kai.
I will certainly try.
He's gonna watch. He's gonna try to get through as much of it as I did, and then I'll finish it, and then we'll talk about it as a whole, and then Jordan will have some context.
Is in the future,
but that will be in the future. Not for me. Today I'm probably going to watch more Cobra Kai after we finish this. But that it's all been leading to end the episode. That's the main episode. But every once in a while, we do a movie review. And we got out to, and the reason why we did Kung Fu is we got to watch the new Karate Kid movie, which... Yeah, man. It sure wasn't really a Karate Kid movie. Okay, so the big thing with this movie, and Jordan will agree with me on this, is this movie... So, this movie's a mess. This movie felt like it was an entirely separate movie that...
It feels like it was two movies that were smushed together.
It feels like it was an entirely separate movie that they tossed Karate Kid onto it, because for whatever reason... So the big... Okay, I guess we'll start at the beginning. Jackie Chan is back as Mr. Han, and he owns a karate school. And he's got a nephew, and his mom moves him to New York. That's the connection to the Jaden Smith movie. And then the movie, obviously it's a Karate Kid movie, so it's about a kid. The movie is predominantly about a kid. He's the main character. And the subversion of this one is, instead of there being a mentor figure that trains a Karate Kid, it is now a Karate Kid training an adult. So the Karate Kid, yeah. So the movie comes to a grinding halt in the middle. So the Karate Kid can just randomly train Joshua Jackson, leading to a conflict, to a fight where Joshua Jackson. He's in a boxing match and he's learned all the lessons of doing karate. And that's what this movie feels like it was initially. It feels like it's...
No, Justin. He learns all the things of learning Kung Fu.
Yeah.
At that point, he doesn't know karate.
True. Yeah, sorry. Joshua Jackson is learning Kung Fu. So then Joshua Jackson, he gets beat up in a dirty fight. And that's when, for whatever reason, it becomes a Karate Kid movie again. And Jackie Chan jumps right back into the narrative. And Ralph Macchio is there.
Not even that the kid like phones up Jackie Chan is like, I need your help to train for this tournament.
He just shows up.
No, he literally just shows up to save the day.
I guess okay. To put this more succinctly, number one, the most important bit is taper your expectations on Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio and being in this movie. If you're going into this expecting it to be a follow-up on Cobra Kai or involve Cobra Kai in any meaningful way or any of the characters beyond Ralph Macchio to show up, it's not going to happen. This is more... Ralph Macchio is in this more of a cameo, and he doesn't really do much. He kind of has a similar conflict to what he has with Johnny Lawrence, but like in a fraction of the time and not done nearly as well. This feels like the original movie, because the movie again comes to a grinding halt, stops being a Karate Kid movie, so he can train Joshua Jackson how to do Kung Fu. And that's not a bad movie. That shit is good and it's fun. And the number one thing is the kid is really good. He's really charismatic. I want him to go on and do more shit. Like, I want him to do more movies. I think he has a huge... I think I'm pretty sure this is his first movie, and he has a huge career coming ahead of him, because he is really good in this. That would have been a better movie than this, because the shit that's tossed in there from Karate Kid is so... Both the Jackie Chan... Honestly, I could even believe that this was a Jackie Chan movie and he was a different character with a different name, and they, in a rewrote, changed it to Han.
So, my thing when I watched this movie, because I obviously didn't watch Cobra Kai, so I'm not that doesn't play into it for me. But I agree that this feels like two movies that were that were put together. This feels like the kid teaches the adult boxer how to fight movie, where maybe in an original version of it, that was his dad. Like
I always believe it's he's teaching not his dad, but he's teaching a girl's dad, because these movies need a lot of
whatever. The point
all of the shit with Joshua Jackson is unchanged.
Is its own movie.
Yeah.
But I feel like they didn't feel confident enough that it would do well enough on its own, which is why they slapped the Karate Kid stuff on it. Let me finish. Because the Karate Kid stuff, to me, that feels like its own movie, which was watered down to fit into this.
Absolutely,
To
yeah.
me, to me, there is another version of this movie where instead of the kid and his mother moving to New York, they move to California, where he becomes a student at Daniel
Miyagi-Do?
Russo,
Miyagi-Do?
Miyagi-Do, where he becomes a student there, and Jackie Chan comes along and is like offended that his protege is enjoying working at Miyagi-Do more, and that's where their rivalry comes in the original incarnation of this movie.
Yeah, because you can. The thing is, you can remove both things out of this movie, and they still. So you can remove him training the dad out of this. The bully character beats him up, and he has to learn karate. Right. Everything in the third act is contrived to set up the third act. So the dad gets beat up specifically, and it's funny because it ends with him joining a karate tournament. Spoiler alert: he wins the karate tournament. But the karate tournament itself is stupid. We were laughing at it because it doesn't make any sense. It's a street tournament. They were clearly bored with the idea of it just being a regular karate tournament. So for some reason, it's a street tournament that is also televised that people watch.
Yeah,
there's a commentator. Like it doesn't. They never say how much money you. No. You said they said 50 grand.
They did. They said 50 grand. And I did come to realize, how we were like, why do they fight in the different locations? I came to realize, I'm pretty sure why that is. Each of the different locations that they're fighting in is in one of the 5 boroughs.
Oh, probably, yeah. But there's no. Also, all of a sudden, there's weird graphics all over that don't match the aesthetic of the movie whatsoever. So that's what I'm saying. That shit. The movie was him training the dad, and that fight where the dad loses, that was the end of the movie. That was the climax. And they've added this third act, this new second half on there on a rewrite, and they've jammed Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio on there because they've
jammed Karate Kid into it, essentially. Basically.
No, because I fully believe that Jackie Chan was probably always involved in this. But yes, they've jammed. They've jammed Karate Kid. Yeah.
But that's why they jammed Karate Kid in.
But I don't just think Karate Kid generally. I think Ralph Macchio specifically has been jammed into this. Like I think this could have been.
I think more just Karate Kid was jammed in, and then they were like, "Hey, you've been doing Cobra Kai for all this time. Do you mind just popping in for this one?" Like I don't think they made the changes specifically to shove him in. I think he just got shoved in because of the changes.
No, but what I'm saying is I think that this probably was at some juncture just involved Jackie Chan, and the loose reference to this being a Karate Kid thing was the jacket on, jacket off, and that was it. And then on a subsequent rewrite, a final rewrite, that's when the Ralph Macchio, he was the last thing jammed into this, because he has been jammed into this. He's not in this organically whatsoever. Jackie Chan, out of nowhere, leaves the movie to be like, oh yeah, I know that Ralph Macchio has existed this whole time, and I know who you were, and I know exactly where you live, and just shows up at his house and is like, and recruits him like Nick Fury style. We need to recruit you to the Karate Kid Vengers. That feels like a rewrite to force him into it. Like again, I mean, everything feels like a rewrite. Jackie Chan coming back in the second half feels like a rewrite.
Like my whole thing is that even the beginning parts where he's learning at the Han's school
feel like rewrites.
It feels like a rewrite. It feels like in the original version it was just a generic school.
Oh, for sure.
It wasn't specifically a Han school. It was a generic school, so that when he comes, like if we want to believe that Jackie Chan was always intended to be in this, that when Jackie Chan shows up in the third act in the original version of it, before it was transformed into a Karate Kid, he shows up and he's like, you want to learn like karate or kung fu or whatever, I know it, why didn't you ask me? I could have taught you years ago.
I suspect
in the original thing, that would have been the thing.
I suspect that uncle character didn't either was added later on or it was different. Like, but no, that the movie was, I guarantee, because his character arc is from two complete. So his character arc involving not helping the dad and not being able to help the brother has nothing to do with the third act. Nothing to do with the third act. Like that feels like from that initial. Again, this movie started out as as the kid training the dad. Like I guarantee you, the girl was always there, the dad was always there, and it was always the kid training the dad. And then someone went, man, this sure looks like it's Karate Kid. Oh hey, Cobra Kai is popular right now. Like everything, this movie doesn't do anything interesting with the Karate Kid. With the Karate Kid franchise, like it doesn't tell anything new. Like Daniel doesn't get a character arc. He's just there to be in 3 scenes to show him how to do karate, which, like, again, cinematically kind of just looks the same. When he eventually does the tournament, like it just all looks the same. It doesn't look any different to me, a Westerner, and maybe that's on me. But yeah, this movie was. Like him and the girl are the best parts, and if you took all the Karate Kid shit out of this,
him, the girl, and the dad,
Joshua Jackson is quite good in this.
Yeah.
If it were the movie, if you took all the Karate Kid shit out of it, this is a good movie, or at least it's a better movie. But because all that Karate Kid shit has been just jammed in there. And I'm not even saying you need to kick out Jackie Chan.
Especially because then, like, yeah, you have the mom who is like, I refuse to let you fight, like, I won't let you fight, and she's just an unpleasant character.
She's just there to be an obstacle.
Which you could have had her be the same obstacle of, and this is my point, of you could take out any and all of the kung fu stuff, and you could have had her be an obstacle just in the way where she's like classic stereotype. Oh, I don't want you to be around that girl. I want you to focus on your studies. She's bad for you.
Well, I mean, like, I'm guessing
you could have easily in another version of this movie where there's not the kung fu stuff, it would have worked with that regard too. Is my point.
Her being like, I don't want you to fight, it's incoherent. Because he's so skilled, it doesn't make any sense, right? She's like, I don't want you to fight, but you can fight very well, in fact. So again, that feels like a rewrite.
Well, she doesn't want him to fight because her son got stabbed.
Yeah, but her son got stabbed. Like again, him getting stabbed has nothing to do with fighting, and just has to do with the nature of fighting in competitions. Like, so what I'm saying is her objection to him fighting is clearly been added in a rewrite, and the initial objection was him participating in a fight competition, right? Then you see that makes sense because he's helping the dad fight. So I'm guessing the dad being in fights, there was probably more than one fight, and she didn't want him involved in helping him because the brother got stabbed in competition. Then that makes sense. Then her involvement makes sense. Her being him against fighting is, again, incoherent. It doesn't make any sense in this version of the script because you could tell it was clearly changed.
I mean, I don't disagree. My point... I right from the beginning said I think this movie is an incoherent mess. So you're not going to hear any arguments from me. That being said, we didn't walk away from it being unhappy.
No, it's a fun movie. It's just a bad Karate Kid movie.
It's just exactly.
But like, I don't think it's a bad Karate Kid movie. It would be a better Karate Kid movie if it didn't have the shit from Karate Kid in it. Like, if you wanted to be like, it's a subversion. The subversion doesn't work because Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio show up and it just becomes Karate Kid. Like, this would be more interesting, yes, if it was a subversion, if it was a, and if it was from a point of the Joshua Jackson character wasn't a boxer and he was getting hassled.
I was gonna say, I think it would have worked better for me if we had like the first half of the movie is the kid training the dad, right? And the dad goes and does the boxing thing and like maybe loses and puts himself further in debt. But like there's one final boxing
No, because that's what the movie we already have.
Let me finish. One final like a boxing match or fighting match or whatever. But instead of it being the kid who does it, it's still the dad. And the kid has to call in Jackie Chan and then Jackie Chan and if you want to bring in the Russo, then okay, but I would have left him out. But like he phones in Jackie Chan and the kid have to train the dad. And
yes,
that's the point of it.
Yes. Yeah, that subverts the idea of the Karate Kid. Now, I mean, I guarantee you again. Well, I'm split on it because the way this reads, it reads that Jackie Chan wasn't in this and he got added, and that's when it became a Karate Kid thing. But it's believable that he was involved in this and he was just a minor character. And then they decided, they went, oh, this looks like Karate Kid. They turned, this reeks of a script that got doctored into a Karate Kid movie.
It does. I agree.
But yeah, it's hard. It's one of those movies that makes me go, like, just functionally and objectively, it's a bad movie. I was having a better time when it wasn't a Karate Kid movie, is what I will say. Like,
I mean,
that's when I was having the most fun.
The kid and the girl together, they're cute together.
And
like,
the dad,
they're really
the dad,
and the dad, the dynamic between the three of them.
Yeah,
that's fun.
When the dad and the girl left, and Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio came in, and they were doing shit that this is now a completely different movie, and it's not working.
Yeah,
and they haven't spent any time. He just kind of shows. Yeah, then it becomes a bad movie, and the karate tournament is incoherent. It doesn't make any sense, and it just that's when it becomes a bad movie.
It really just comes across like it's two movies that got smushed into one.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's two movies that smashed into one. I think it was one movie. I mean, I don't think the Karate Ship was its own movie. I think that it was inserted. It was just inserted into this.
Would you prefer? It's a movie which could be two.
Should be two movies.
Could be. Is able to be two separate movies and would be stronger if it was.
It feels like in order to head off the past that this is just like Karate Kid, they forced it into being a Karate Kid movie, and it's worse off for it. The worst part about this new Karate Kid movie is the Karate Kid stuff. I think that's the title of the YouTube video.
I mean, yeah, or
that's the log line.
Is this really Karate Kid? Would be mine.
I mean, it is once Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio show up. And also, spoiler. No, like I said, no characters from Cobra Kai show up in this, other than William Zabka shows up for what the internet called a post-credit scene, but is before the credits, which was funny. Him deciding a pizza name for Miyagi-Do. It's a funny gag. I saw people being like, why did he need to be in this? I saw what did he need to be in this to resolve? I think maybe they were talking about Daniel LaRusso, but it's a fun William Zabka cameo. It's very funny. I'm curious though. He mentions the new business venture, so I'm wondering how if it does tie into the end of Cobra Kai. I will find out. But yeah, Cobra Kai did everything this movie wants to do, but more interesting and better, and more well made. And the fighting was better.
I don't really have much else to say about this one.
No.
That's where, it's funny that you say, in terms of the characters, which of the Karate Kids is the best version. And, I like the character, and this is where he
never whines or complains about anything. Doesn't cry.
That's where I was going to say. I both do and don't agree with your sentiment. I agree that this version, this character, is better, but not the Karate Kid parts.
No, that's what I'm saying. If you took out the Karate Kid parts of this, it would be a much better movie. It's a bad Karate Kid movie.
But that's where I'm saying, though, earlier you were like, when I was talking about the Jaden Smith one, you said that you think that he's the worst Karate Kid.
I mean, I do.
I don't agree, because the Karate Kid parts work in his movie. They don't in this movie.
But what I'm saying is, if you remove this Karate Kid from the Karate Kids, then there's only technically two Karate Kids, Daniel LaRusso and him, and he's just worse than Daniel LaRusso.
Sure, but
by nature of the fact that he's 12.
Whether the thing is that you this is a Karate Kid movie, so I have to look at him as a Karate Kid. And because the Karate Kid parts of this movie are the worst parts of this movie, it makes him not a good Karate Kid. Ergo, I argue that I think and I'm mostly playing devil's advocate, I think that the Jaden Smith, because the whole is stronger.
But also, technically speaking, he does learn karate from scratch in this movie. He just does it really fast in a week. So, he's technically a Karate Kid. It is about him learning karate. So, by that metric, he is the second best Karate Kid.
I mean, if we really want to be pedantic about it, Jaden Smith can't be in the running because he learns kung fu.
Oh, he doesn't learn karate, so he's automatically the worst karate kid because he doesn't even learn karate.
He's not even the worst karate kid. He's disqualified from the competition because he doesn't learn karate.
No. He's allowed to participate, but he just showed up and he didn't do karate.
He's not allowed because he didn't learn karate.
I mean, you can show up to a karate tournament not knowing karate. You're just gonna get your ass kicked.
All right, I suppose. Well, but can you do kung fu in a karate tournament? Is that allowed in the rules?
I honestly have no idea. Somebody who knows karate, tell me in the comments.
Somebody who's been in a karate tournament, tell us if you're allowed to use kung fu.
If you've done a big karate tournament, tell us, could you use kung fu in a karate tournament?
Because that will ultimately decide the question. Because otherwise, you're right. If he is allowed to, then at that point you're right. He is the student who handed in a test with no answers. He technically handed in a test. He showed up. He just gets no marks.
Exactly. Also, apparently, in order to get to Okinawa, it's a 15-hour flight.
All right, that's a long flight. I do not want to do that anytime soon.
That's the new Karate Kid movie. Stream it. Don't waste your money at the theater.
Yeah, no, I'd watch it on streaming.
Watch it on streaming. It's a fun stream movie. It's not to say it's not a fun movie. It's just we're being critical because that's what we do. That's what we do for a living.
We don't do it for a living. I wish we did it for a living.
We
You know, if you sign up for Audible and or our Patreon, then we could maybe start to think about doing it for a living.
Now for next week. What's next week's episode going to be? What's the assignment for next week? And the assignment is Disney. And now I know what you're thinking. Channel. And now I know what you're thinking. Original. I know what you're thinking. Movies. You're thinking, Justin, you're doing Disney Channel original movies. Jordan,
movies.
Jordan, what is the audience thinking if they're longtime viewers of the show?
That it's a DCOM.
No,
that we've done Disney?
No, Jordan. Why aren't we inviting Haley? Friend of the show, Haley.
That's a good question. Why aren't we inviting Haley?
Because all of these Disney Channel original movies predominantly will be before she was born. That's right. So we're doing Disney Channel original movies, but there is a cutoff. 2005, when I was the ripe age of 15, and still technically a child.
She was born in 2005?
I have no idea.
What?
I mean, we're gonna do stuff from like the 90s before she was born.
No, I know. You just said the cutoff is 2005, and you had earlier said that we were doing stuff from before.
Well, okay. I should say, we're gonna try to.
We're gonna try
to. We might cheat. There may be cheating. We should try not to cheat though. Cheating is bad.
But cheating is fun.
Cheating is bad. But yes, Disney Channel original movies out before the year 2005 next week. Joe, where can they find you?
I typically do Minecraft Mondays on Monday, where I do Minecraft, and it's Monday, and it's on my Twitch, and it's ZGore187. Also on the weekends, I'm here.
I am on TikTok at Justin Spurr. Also, the show's on the TikTok, Spur of the Moment P. You can email the show, It's Justin's Business. If you have business that you want me to see, you can email me there. You can, yes, like I said before, you can join the Patreon and pay us to do this. That would be sweet. I haven't actually checked the Patreon to see if people are paying. I can't imagine they are because I haven't gotten any email notifications. But you can join the Discord. The Discord now, the link doesn't need to be updated every week, so it is constant. The Discord, am I missing? rtmedia.org. I don't know that I'm missing anything. Oh yeah, we were going to start doing end cards. If you want to see the last episode of the podcast, which was our Netflix 100% Is It Fresh special, you can click the box on the left. Or if you would like to see a random YouTube video that you think that YouTube thinks you're going to enjoy, you click the box on the right. Hit subscribe if you haven't. You don't have to hang out for the full podcast, but we have videos that come out every single day, 7 days a week. There's a new thing popping up on this channel. You can check that out. Leave us a like the live stream, like all of our videos. That helps us out. Leave us comments. Even the mean ones help us out in the algorithm. Yeah, we'll see you all next week, everybody. George, say bye.
Bye.